My name is Margot, and we've got a face around the table. What's your name?
My name's Alex.
Hello, Alex. Welcome to Talkaoke. And another person. What's your name? Kane. Welcome, Kane. Yeah, maybe move a little closer. Hello there. So today we're in Bradford. What should we kick off with? This is Polish Heritage Days. This is Bradford Together, talking about culture in Bradford. What is there to say? Is Bradford a cultural city? Could it be more?
Oh, Bradford's one of the most multicultural cities I've been to, and I've been all around England. Bradford is just so rich in culture everywhere. There's specific areas of Bradford that are kind of more maybe kind of populated by one culture than the other, but you know, there's just so many multicultural restaurants and, you know, different religious like mosques and churches, so different religious buildings, and there's just so much to see in Bradford. We all come together and we all kind of, you know, share these experiences. Bradford's known kind of as the curry capital of England because it is. There's just so many like beautiful Asian cuisines and Polish cuisines. There's Polish restaurants everywhere. Honestly, multicultural wise, you can't shame Bradford for not being multicultural because it's so multicultural.
So Bradford as a multicultural capital of England. Hello, what do you think about it? Do you think Bradford is multicultural enough? Is there everything? Come and grab a seat at the Talkaoke. You can stay for 3 seconds, but just tell us on the mic very quickly whether you think, okay, maybe you can share the mic. I'm Margot, by the way, this is Talkaoke. What is Bradford as multicultural as we hear? No? Maybe tell us on the mic very quickly. Tell us your name. Okay, what's your favorite food place in Bradford? Tell us that. Nando's. Nando's, okay. Is Nando's like from a specific culture? Is there a specific cuisine?
Isn't it South African originally?
Is Nando's South African? Do we need more South African places around Nando's? Not sure? Okay, have you been to Polish restaurants? That's another thing we're talking about, Polish? Okay, Alex here tells us there's a lot of Polish restaurants, and Bradford is a curry capital of Great Britain. Is this true? We don't know. But this is Talkaoke. Thank you very much for stopping by. Okay, so from the subjects on the table, we've got, we started on about multicultural Bradford and cuisines.
I just want to go on to Nando's.
Yeah.
Because Nando's is quite interesting because Nando's started in South Africa from Portuguese immigrants from Mozambique. So
really?
It's a very complicated story. They've been part of Portuguese colonization of Africa in the 19th century. And then in 1974, Portugal made all of its colonies independent all at once. And then a lot of those Portuguese expats moved to South Africa. And they became a kind of underclass in South Africa, and they started up a lot of Portuguese chicken restaurants, but with an African flavour. So every time it's moved from country to country, there's been some sort of like, you know, it's picked up some influence.
But it's also, it's kosher originally as well, because it's got because it was catering for a sort of, wasn't it catering for a Jewish community as well when it was first set up?
Is Nando's specifically for Jewish community? Is that how it all started? We're talking currently, this is Talkaoke, by the way, if you don't know. This is a pop-up talk show. Everyone's welcome. Talking about Poland, Polish culture, but also talking about Nando's right now, talking about culture reflected in cuisine. Do you go to Nando's? Do you go to Nando's much? No? No. Which restaurant is your favorite restaurant in Bradford? Turkish. Which one? Which one? So is there, okay, so we're talking about cultures in Bradford. I mean, are there many Turkish places, or is just one main one? Okay, well, thank you. You can come and grab a seat for 5 seconds. Tell us. Oh, that's such a shame, but thank you so much. Okay, so we're talking about different cuisines. Apparently, do you know how Nando's started? We just got some insights. This is Talkaoke, a pop-up talk show. Everybody is welcome to come and join. Do you guys go to Nando's? Do you go to Polish restaurants? Hello there. Would you like to join us and tell us about your favorite restaurant? Oh, we've got a new person online as well. Amazing. Okay, we've got Alex here. We've got, I didn't get your name. What's your name over there?
Yeah, it's Kane.
It's Kane. We also had somebody else. Who was that? What's your name?
Hi, I'm Mikey.
We've got Mikey and I'm Margot, and this is Talkaoke. Hello, guys. You brought us sunshine, so we're very grateful for this. If you fancy popping around.
And it looks like we've got George and Laura online as well.
Oh, wonderful. And obviously, we are going online.
Let's have a sound check from George.
Okay, George.
And
Hello,
Laura, for
George.
that matter.
Can you give us a quick sound check?
Yes, how are you? I'm from Canada. It's 7 a.m.
That was pretty splashing us. I said, wait, give us a second, George. We'll just adjust the sound, and then you can give us another sound check. Hello over there. George, tell us again where you're connecting from.
I'm connecting from Toronto, Canada, and it's 7 a.m.
7 a.m. Thank you so much for your dedication, for joining us 7 a.m. To this Destination Bradford Talkaoke. Thank you, George. And Laura, we already had a sound check from you, but you can say hello if you wish.
Hello, guys. Yes, I'm not far. I'm in London, so same time.
Same time zone. Nice. And George, just because you joined just now, I can tell you that we've got Alex here on the streets of Bradford in Oastler Square. Hello, man in a car. You can stop by. We've got also Kane, and we also have Mikey, and I'm Margot. Thank you so much for joining. We have been discussing multicultural Bradford.
Can I just say,
Of course.
George and Laura, if you can you please turn your cameras on, because they can see you here out in the street. We've got a screen here, so if you can turn your cameras on, it'd be great to get that sense of connection with Toronto and London.
It would be really lovely to see your faces if you're comfortable, although I know 7 a.m. is a tricky time. People are still waking up. So where do we want to take it from here? So we are in the streets of Bradford. We've learned a little bit about the city. We learned about some of the top cuisines in Bradford. I want to know what our favorite restaurants of people out there on the street. Did you get your, where did you get your sandwich from, sir? Where did you get your sandwich from? We will never know. It could have been Nando's, but it could be a Polish restaurant. We don't know. We were talking about Nando's. We were talking about Bradford. Alex says Bradford is the most multicultural city in the UK. And she knows because she's been around. She's visited multiple places, and this is what she tells us Bradford is. But also, Alex, you were saying earlier that when you tell people where you're from, there's some men coming across the street. Are you going to join us for a conversation? Talking about lots of things, really. Do people know where Bradford is my question. Because do people know where Bradford is my question. Yes, Mikey?
I mean, it's kind of a philosophical question, because do you know where here is? It's kind of like you're here. Do you know what I mean? So if you're in Bradford, do you know where Bradford is?
Yeah, I suppose.
If you're not in Bradford, it's kind of like, where is it relative to you? I mean, I'm kind of interested in George calling in from Toronto.
Yes.
I want to find out a bit more about his story. Does he know where Bradford is, and how do you get to Toronto from there?
Hello, welcome. We're just talking about where Bradford is. So George, over to you. Before connecting today, hello, come and join us. Before you connected today, did you know where Bradford was?
Actually, I did. I had made a mistake the last time I attended this session back in March.
Oh, yeah.
Where I said my father actually lived in Bradford, but he actually lived in Bradshaw, which I believe is in the suburbs of Bradford.
Bradshaw.
Correct. So again, my interest is going back into the late 40s, early 50s in Bradford and area, especially from the Ukrainian diaspora, along with the Polish diaspora.
Okay, so we're talking about Polish diaspora. We've got a new face around the table. Hello, welcome to Talkaoke. This is a pop-up talk show. We've got, what's your name? Acha, nice to, oh, 1 second, we'll just get a microphone on you. Go on, Acha?
My name's Asher.
Asha, nice to meet you. What's your name? Yarek. Darren. Darren, I'm Margaret. This is Alex.
Let's join the speech.
We've got Alex, we've got Kane, we've got Mikey over there. Hello, everybody. We also have George and Laura online.
Yeah.
You're welcome to join. This is Talkaoke.
Right, what can we talk about?
We were just talking about, before you joined us, we were talking about, do people know where Bradford is? People from outside Bradford. George, believe it or not, is connecting today from Canada, and it's 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So, George, I understand your connection with Bradford is through your family, and Bradford in maybe 40s, 50s, that kind of thing. Is that right?
That's correct.
Right. And you guys, have you, are you from Bradford, or are you passing through?
I'm from Bradford. I've lived in Bradford. I was born in Bradford in 1975, BRI.
Wowzers. Okay, so do you know what I'm gonna do there? Remind me your name, Asher.
Yeah, Asher, yeah.
Asher, listen, I'm gonna ring my bell, because this is pretty good results. So since 1979.
1975.
Five, even better. You have been living here. And we were talking about Bradford being multicultural city. Yeah. Do you have any views about that?
Yeah, well, we're homeless people.
Right.
We live on the streets. We've lived on the streets for 15 years.
Right.
Getting housing is some next level.
It's difficult.
It's difficult, yeah. We're just normal human beings. We're British born, but yeah, we can't get no housing. So what happens is we go around the town centre and just walk around in circles, because that's all we can do.
Okay.
Bradford, as far as I'm concerned, with what's just happened with this COVID.
Was that? It was struck really hard with COVID.
Struggling, everybody's struggling.
And since COVID, okay.
Since COVID, yeah, the government's done nothing to help. Yeah, you can bring universal credit. That's the new benefit that they've got, and you're just talking to a dead-end phone. Yeah. Right.
So you threw in quite a few points there, Asher. So thank you so much for this. So your experience of Bradford is from the streets, quite
I'm
literally.
From the streets.
Yeah, you are literally from the streets.
Yeah.
You mentioned maybe there's not much help. It's quite hard to get on to get property, to get a house.
Yeah.
And we've got a man over there. I mean, would you say it's true? I mean, what's your experience? How it's? Come on, get involved.
Come into the talk show and show what Bradford's about.
This is a talk show. No, that's fine. Grab a seat. So this is Talkaoke. Yeah, come and grab a seat.
This is what we need.
So welcome. So we've got Asher, we've got Darren, we've got Alex. This is Kane. What's your name, by the way?
My name's Lee.
Yeah.
Lee. We've got Mikey. What's your name?
Competition.
What's your name? Paul, grab a microphone. And guys, by the way, they're everywhere. There are gels. Hello, everyone. There are gels on the table if you want to wipe your hands. So we've got lots of tables on the. We've got lots of subjects on the table online. By the way, we've got audience online. We've got George calling from Canada. We've got Laura all the way from London, and we're talking about Bradford. Is it easy to get to get a house in Bradford? Can the government do more to support the people in Bradford? Lee, I think you came in with a point as well.
Yeah, I mean, to a degree, they're right. I think that...
Maybe just come closer to the mic. Laura and George, if at any point you can't hear something, just let me know.
To a degree, those guys are right. I don't think there is enough done for the homeless in Bradford. We shouldn't have people these days living in tents underneath
the archways. We've got our own tent city. In Bradford.
I've lived in Bradford for 50 years.
50 years.
And yeah,
just 1 second, Paul. Just 1 second, Paul. Yeah.
And I've never seen it like it is now with the homeless.
Okay, so Bradford is a changing city. So Bradford is changing. Lee has lived here for 50 years. This is a new level. This is something different.
And I don't think the
Asher, you have been talking about living here all your life and being on the streets for 15 years. And Paul as well. I mean,
really Andrew, but we grew up together. We still like
right.
I know all these all my life.
All these good
Yeah.
lads. We've known each other since he was 5-year-old.
Yeah. Okay, so you go way back. So is that something? So is it fair to say that people in Bradford know each other quite well?
Yeah.
Like you know, is Bradford like
Well, it's
like a family?
Yeah, it's definitely more multicultural.
I'll come to you, Lee, 1 second. Just Asher first of you first.
It's like we've got the Asians keep to themselves, and I think the guy will agree with me there.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Kurdish keep to themselves.
Kurdish keep to themselves. Hello.
The Polish keep to themselves.
Yes.
And us British are like, we're left behind now, yeah? When it comes to the benefit system,
Right.
when it comes to the housing system, when it comes to certain situations, that's how we feel, because we are trying to get houses and we can't get houses, and we're from Britain.
Okay.
No, I disagree.
So I'm okay. So just before we move it any further,
There's a lot
I
to
just want to
disagree.
welcome new faces to the table.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. I'm Margot. What are your names?
Arisha Khmera from Ukrainian community. This is Maria.
Arisha, give me 1 second. We'll just get you on the mic. 1 second. Can George and Laura? Can you hear Arisha on the microphone?
Can I talk, love?
Arisha, can you tell us something on the mic again?
Just speak in.
I am Arisha Khmera from the Ukrainian community in Bradford.
Is that all audible? Fantastic. Thank you, people online. And we've got another lovely person there.
Maria Lee.
Maria Lee. Okay, we also have Lee over here. We've got Alex, who kicked us off earlier. We've got Darren, we've got Asher, we've got Paul, we've got these people over there, we've got Kane, I'm Margot, and there's Mikey over there. This is Talkaoke. At the moment, whilst you're signing in, girls, I will tell you that we're talking about Bradford. Are there opportunities equal to everybody in Bradford? Is it related to the nationalities and different cultures? Is it true that different nationalities keep themselves to themselves? We was hearing from Alex earlier, Bradford's multicultural, but is there enough points for cultures to come together? We're talking about opportunities in the city. Is it easy to get a place to live in Bradford? We're talking about how the city has changed. Lee was saying about this is his experience of living in Bradford for 50 years, and it's never been as bad as it is now. Is there anything positive that we can build on? We've got George from Canada, joining us from Canada, and Laura from London.
No, it's on the telly.
George's family comes from this area, and so he remembers Bradford from the stories from the 50s and 40s. So this is where we are. These are the subjects on the table. Where shall we take it? Before I come to you, Lee, Paul, can you speak on the mic now?
What it is, right, there's a lot of homeless people in Bradford.
Yeah.
And I've grew up around Bradford all my life. From age 7, I've been putting children's home. And I come out there to make homeless from there.
Okay.
And from being about 18, I've been homeless. I've lived in shop doorways, I've lived in tents, I've lived in arches doorways, I've lived in all over Bradford. A lot of people know me because I'm not running it late.
Right.
I used to do about a bed in Bradford because I'm not for drugs. I ask for money, I ask for food, never ask for drugs to give me food. I won't do it. I mean, I don't take drugs. At time I won't take it outside nowhere, I just want food.
So it's difficult, and you. It sounds like you. It has.
I've got a nice place to live now. I'm dressing up better. Before I didn't give up, bugging about myself, taking out a champ on. I won't get shaved, I'm doing nothing. That's what I found now.
Okay, so it hasn't been always easy for you.
It's been hard. I've been living here 6 months.
It's the hardest place to live.
Okay, so Bradford is actually quite a hard place to live. I mean, is that your experience? Is Bradford?
I can tell you 100 homeless people now.
Actually, I'm just going to very quickly come to Lee because he had his hand up earlier. So Bradford is not an easy city to live in.
Bradford's always been a tough city. It's an industrial city anyway. But to be fair, talking to these guys, I do get their issues about homelessness and like the benefit system. But you've also got to acknowledge yourselves, there's a massive antisocial issue where guys like you are concerned, right? Sitting here, literally, taking drugs all day, taking spice, collapsing in the street, causing chaos. affecting local businesses. I'm not pointing at anybody, but you've got to admit there is an issue with antisocial
Okay,
behaviour.
so the city, what I'm picking, I'll come to you in just 1 second, Paul. Yeah. So what
Not pointing at anybody.
So I'm just gonna kind of sum it up and say Bradford is a difficult city, but we are all kind of presenting, we are all kind of playing a part in how the city comes across to people, to the outside world. I mean, is that kind of, I want to bring in new face. Hello, this is Talkaoke. This is a pop-up talk show. You're welcome to join us. We're talking about Bradford. Is Bradford a difficult place to live in, or is it an easy place to live in?
It's not a friendly place anyway.
Bradford, is it a friendly place or not a friendly place? I will come to you just very shortly, Asha, but I can see Alex, you haven't spoken for a while. I feel like maybe you've got something to say. So let's listen to Alex for a moment.
I've not lived in Bradford as long as you guys. I came here when I was 7. I've lived in Bradford for 16 years. It's not, there's better parts of Bradford and there's worse parts of Bradford. There's some parts of Bradford that I avoid completely because I know of things that happen there, especially as a young woman. I don't feel comfortable walking through Bradford by myself, especially in the dark, because it's, you get things shouted at you, you get catcalled, you get all sorts. So Bradford in itself just doesn't have the best reputation because I don't think it's the safest place for people to be.
Okay, so maybe Bradford is not a safe place if you're a woman. I wonder whether any other women around here, do you have a view on this? Are there different parts of Bradford which are better for being a woman, or how does it work? I mean, your experience. Hello there. This is Talkaoke. Come and join us. There's a seat over here, madam.
Can I just come in on that? I think it's probably unfair to put Bradford. Highlight Bradford's faults because I think the same applies in a lot of towns up and down the country. There's good places and bad places to live wherever.
Yeah.
I mean, I live on the outskirts of Bradford. So perhaps don't see the worst of it. But I do think you can't generalise and say Bradford is totally a bad place to live.
Okay, so Bradford is not a bad place to live. We can't generalize. I wonder what these guys in high vis think. They may not have anything to say, but so let's not generalize. Bradford has got an outskirts. They have got positive sides to it, but maybe if you're a young woman, maybe there's some areas that you may want to avoid. Is that, Mikey, you want to come in on this? Yeah. Okay, that's a really good question. I mean, because we do have this Ukrainian perspective as well, because this is Talkaoke. Yeah, so maybe that's the question. And George, that goes out to you as well. If you raise your hand, of course, I will see you and I will know that you want to come in. But for people who've got experience from different countries, what's it like in other countries? Is Bradford a tougher place in comparison to Ukraine, for instance, or Canada? Is it just different? George, do you have any views on this?
I don't think you can compare the two countries per se. Obviously, in England, you're a democratic nation as opposed to Ukraine, which is just a fledgling democracy. Human rights, the rights of just individual citizens is so much less in Eastern Europe, especially in Ukraine. Obviously, in Canada and England, we enjoy our freedoms, and that gives us the opportunity to succeed, to make a life for ourselves. So my parents came over in 1953.
Right.
So my dad left Bradshaw in probably about 1948, 49. So again, there is no comparison. It's something that has to be looked upon as unique to the urban setting itself in comparison to other cities or towns close to Bradford.
So I'm going to sum up what you just said, George. I mean, in Bradford, in the UK, there are more liberties. Maybe there's a different kind of government that allows us to be, I'm going to paraphrase, probably say it wrong, to be more free. There's more opportunities in here. Maybe in other countries, maybe there's slightly less. I mean, today around the table, we've got people born in Bradford. We've got people from Ukraine, Poland. I don't know where you were born, Lee. Bradford. Yeah, we've got another Bradford person, and of course online we've got people in London, but also Poland and Canada via Ukraine. So come and join us. This is, if you don't know, this is a Talkaoke, and we are here thanks to the Bradford Council and thanks to Polish Heritage Days. I will say that as well, talking about what it is to be living in Bradford, a multicultural city. Is it a city of equal opportunities? Are different experiences of Bradford differ for different nationalities? And that kind of stuff. So that's where we're at. We've got obviously the historical side. Bradford maybe has changed in recent history. We've got a lady over there. Hello, would you like to tell us about Bradford from your perspective? Have you always lived in Bradford? All your life? Come and get involved. We've got this chair over here.
Do you want to take this chair?
Or you can take this chair if you like. For 5 minutes, you can throw in a new subject to the conversation. This is a Talkaoke. Yeah, it's just a little bit far away, and we've got people online. If you don't mind, coming just closer to the microphone. Oh dear. One thing that I've noticed about Bradford is that everybody's rushing. Oh, Lee, are you going as well? All right, just before you go, do you want to just throw in a question or a pre-final thought? Hello, welcome, grab a seat if you like. This is Talkaoke.
I'll leave you with this. When I grew up, and Bradford, as far as I can remember, has always been a multicultural city.
Yeah.
In as much as it's a more multicultural city now, I don't think people are as close in Bradford anymore. The different nationalities and different sort of ethnic groups tended to mix more. Now they tend to stick to their own a lot more. So Bradford, in as fact as it's multicultural, I would say it's probably less multicultural than it's been in a long time.
Okay, so this is a very interesting view, and I wonder what other people think. We've got new people over there. Can I grab your names? I'm Margot, by the way. And to let you know, we've got Asher, we've got Darren, we've got Maria, we've got Arisha, we've got Alex, we've got Kane, and we've got Mike over there. And online, we've got Laura and George, all the way from Canada, believe it or not. So grab a seat. This has all been sprayed down because, of course, we've got COVID.
And
and what are your names? Heather, come and get involved. If you say it on the mic, people online will see you. Hello, everybody. And what's your name, gentleman over there?
Mr. Khan.
Khan, come and get involved. Grab a seat over there if you feel comfortable. Grab a seat over here if you wish. So this is what we're talking about. Lee has left us with this question, or with this supposition. Bradford is not as connected as it was before. Yes, it's multicultural, but is it connected? Are people mixing? Do you have any views, Heather, on this, or Khan? So, is it Katie? No.
The only views I have, personally,
Okay,
I think Bradford's just full of drugs. Yeah.
Right.
Right. A lot of people are taking them now. They're all on spice, they're all on heroin, they're all on crack. They've just done 18 months of a lockdown inside the house, yeah.
So it's difficult.
So it's been difficult times.
Yeah, what is spice? We don't actually know.
Spice is a new drug. It's a synthetic drug.
Right.
Yeah, it was legal until about 4 years ago, and then it got banned by the government. Yeah, and then and everybody got on it, and I'd say about half of Bradford's on it.
Yeah, it was really accessible at one point. Corner shops were selling
Could buy it from the shop.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so drugs, maybe that's a problem. I mean, is there something that we can do to overturn it?
Yeah.
That's one of the, I mean, can we together tackle the issue of drugs?
Of course we can.
In Bradford? That's one of the subjects. Second subject is like, are people truly connected, or Bradford's multicultural, but it's not actually connected to Poles, Ukrainians, British people, South Asian people. Are we mixing together? Are we doing stuff together enough? Kane, you've got a point. I'm going to go to Kane.
Yeah, so I was just talking to Roma just now, who I guess like connecting us to Canada in a different way. So Roma has been living here in Bradford for 70 years, but she has a lot of family over in Toronto as well. She is, her family's Ukrainian. She moved here in the interwar period. And I guess picking up on your second point, Margot, she was saying that when she came, being part of that sort of Eastern European wave that came in.
Oh, one second, Kane. Just before you go, Asher and Darren, do you want to give us the final thoughts? Sorry, Kane, to pause you so abruptly. Final thoughts or a question or a new subject?
I'd like the government to step up here and help the people that are on the streets, because there's about 1,000 people that are on Bradford streets homeless, and that needs sorting out.
Thank you very much, Asher. Thank you for finding time to chat to us. All the best to you, and thank you so much, Darren. Guys, have a good one. Thank you for joining in. Is the government doing enough? Can government do more? Okay, government needs to do more. Thank you so much, you guys. So this is where we're at. We talked about Bradford being maybe a place with kind of, maybe with some drug problems, but also about multiculturalism, talking about the Canada connection and something for you there, George. Mikey, maybe you can change the windshield and just spray the station down. Hello there, a man who's done a lot of shopping, I can tell.
That is an impressive amount.
Welcome. You live... All right, well, listen, why don't you grab a seat? Because we're just talking about Bradford, and this is Talkaoke. You're not from Bradford? Oh, wow. Good question.
That's true what they say.
You are in Bradford now. I'm from Poland, actually, as it happens. Dobrze, dobrze, a ty? Well, funny you should say that, because dzień dobry, witam. What's happening? What's happening? Come and get involved. We are just having we are talking. Yeah. Come and sit down, grab a seat, and I'll just very quickly do a round of... Oh, there's a station over there. Do you want to... I'll look after you.
Do you want to come grab a seat here? There's a microphone.
Okay.
Such black casting.
Why don't we... Do you want to sit down?
Are you from England?
Yeah.
Why would you? Okay, I'm going to tell you about...
Okay, grab a microphone. Before you sit down... Okay, tell me 1 second. Just 1 second. What's your name? I'll grab your name.
That's what happens to Bradford.
Come and get involved. Sit on this table. By the way, can I just introduce everyone? Okay, that's happening here. So
that means you don't care about the land.
Why don't you sit down and tell us your views?
From London. What do you know about the North?
So this is Talkaoke. Everybody is welcome. We've got people from Bradford. Yes.
Yeah.
We've got Heather over there. Yeah. Heather, are you a Bradfordian?
I'm not. I'm an off Camden.
I've come up from the Midlands.
From the Midlands, okay. Is Midlands different to Bradford?
Once you stop talking, I'm going to tell you about your...
Oh, just 1 second. So we've got Heather over there. Heather, I'm going to come to you in a second. We've got Maria, we've got Arisia, we've got Alex, I'm Margot.
I'm Vinny.
Vinny, nice to meet you. Vinny Jones, I love your name. So Vinny, we're here because of Bradford Council.
They use you.
Because of Polish Heritage Days, that's why we're here. Tell us about Bradford. Tell us about Bradford.
Do you not know they use you?
In what way?
Let me tell you about Poland, right? Let me tell you about Poland.
Oh, and we've got audience online as well.
Polish, we would have lost World War II.
Right. We would lose World War II. That's Brits would lose World War II because without Paris.
RAF. Nobody, listen, we're all over here.
Vinny,
so
grab a mic, because people online can't hear. Yeah.
And without you, we would have lost the aerial.
Right.
Challenge.
Right. So you're talking about the war, Second World War. We've got.
That's the only reason I'm here. But let's not go deeper now.
Right.
Let's not go deeper now.
Okay, so just to let you know, we've got George online. He's currently in Canada, but he is, George, is it fair to say your family are Ukrainian and they were living in Bradford in the 50s?
So let's not talk about St. George.
Let's not talk about it, or let's talk about St. George.
You know where he's from?
Where is St. George from?
A black man from Turkey.
Okay, so do you guys
He
know?
never stepped a foot in England.
Okay, so we've got St. George.
You really picked up the wrong guy, didn't you?
No, that's fine, Vinny. You're welcome to stay here.
Picked up the wrong guy, didn't you?
So, Vinny, what I'm going to pick up from what you were saying.
That you, Hitler, would have ruled the world, and I would not be here. So
Welcome.
you, Poland.
Thank you, Poland. This is what Vinny says. Jak się masz, says Vinny. How are you? How are you? I'm going to give it a round of applause. And I will just say to any Polish person, wszyscy, którzy mówią po polsku, jeżeli tutaj są takie osoby, zapraszam. Dzień dobry. Dzień dobry, o kurczę, zapraszamy, no naprawdę. To jest Talkaoke, to jest talk show, w którym Państwo możecie wziąć udział. Zapraszamy tutaj do stoliczka. Rozmawiamy o Polsce. Czy już od dawna mieszkacie Państwo w Polsce? Przepraszam, w Bradford. Okay. So we're talking about polska historia i mamy tutaj Viniego, który bardzo docenia polską historię. We've got Vinny here. Okay, Vinny, just one second, because we've got new people and they're actually from Poland. Exactly.
Jesus is black.
So we've got.
You all worship me.
Thank you, Vinny. Dobrze. Mam tylko szybkie pytanie, bo mam szybkie pytanie. Zapraszamy może na 5 sekund, na sekundę. Okay, girls, do you want to get involved? Grab and see. Okay, Okay, so what's your name? Fiona? Viola, and we've got Kevin. We've got Viola, Kevin. We've got Alex over here. Vinny, just one second, because we've got new people who want to hear what they've got to say. We've got Vinny, we've got Arisha, we've got Maria, we've got Heather from the Midlands, and we've got 2 new girls, and we will, what are your names? Asma. Salma and Asma, and I'm Margot. So we're talking about Polish history. Vinny, just one second. We also have people online. We've got George and Laura from Canada and London, respectively. We're talking about Polish history. Vinny, we're going to come to that in 1 second. We are here because of the Bradford Council. We're here to celebrate Polish Heritage Days. Are we celebrating cultures of Poland in Bradford enough? Viola, what do you say to that? Tell us on the mic. Vinny, 1 second. Można po polsku i ja potem przetłumaczę. I'm going to come to you in just 1 second. We've got Viola here. Viola, na mikrofonie proszę tutaj. Vinny, jak się mieszka w Bradford i czy tutaj czcimy polską historię, bo Vinny mówi, że tutaj wszyscy, że Polacy pomogli Wielkiej Brytanii w II wojnie światowej. Czy o tym się pamięta tutaj?
Wydaje mi się, że pamiętacie, bo są mi polskie szkoły. Wydaje mi się, że każdą religię tutaj akceptujemy. Nie tylko polską, ale...
One second, Vinny, we need to speak to Viola. Czyli celebrujemy jakby, każda kultura tu jest jakby szanowana i pamiętamy dobrze o historii, pamiętamy o polskiej historii, o polskich zwyczajach może też?
Tak, i myślę, że wszyscy ludzie, mieszana kultura chce poznawać tą kulturę, ponieważ ja chcę poznawać wszystkie kultury. I myślę, że Polska też jest bardzo ludzie są zainteresowani polską kulturą, tak mi się wydaje.
Tutaj w Bradfordzie. Okay, so I'm just going to abbreviate what Viola said, that people here are interested in Polish culture. Polish culture is here visible, and we celebrate history and the benefit of having a multicultural environment here in Bradford means that people are interested in Polish culture and Polish people are interested in other cultures. Welcome. I'm going to go straight to Asma.
Hi there. I'm not too knowledgeable about the Polish community. However, as I said, Bradford's a very diverse place, and we welcome the Polish community. We'd love to learn more about them.
One sec.
We'd love to learn more about them. However, the issue I'd like to speak about today, if possible, is the Palestinian issue and the apartheid state of Israel, the mass murder, the terrorism it's carrying out in Israel, and the unbelievable media bias against the Palestinian people. The one-sided coverage by the BBC, where they refer to this as a conflict or a war. It's not a war, it's not a conflict. It's a state which is sponsored by the US with billions of pounds. It's a genocide carried out by an apartheid state of Israel, where Palestinians are being turfed out of their homes, which they have had for centuries. They're being murdered, they're being constantly terrorized by the IDF. There's no freedom of movement for the Palestinian people, there's no freedom of speech for the Palestinian people. There is no freedom. They are caged into Gaza like animals. They can't even, women can't even go to give birth in hospitals because of the amount of checkpoints that they're having to go through. They're not treated like human beings. They can't worship in their places of worship in peace, and the whole world is silent. It's unbelievable. We are going to look back in the future. We're going to look back in this time in shame. The Jewish people talk about the Holocaust. They are carrying out a Holocaust right now on the Palestinian people, and the world should be ashamed.
Thank you, Asma, for this point. I think you've dropped in a very, very huge subject there. To recap, I'm just going to say there's stuff happening there's history unfolding really in Palestine right now.
Absolutely.
Are we doing enough to acknowledge? You mentioned history. We were talking about history before. Vinny brought in the subject of Second World War, the Polish people coming and helping Britain. Are we helping now people across different cultures? And are we just, and you mentioned about media, how is media portraying different situations and different nationalities? Viola, wszystko zrozumiane mniej więcej? Spoko. Dobra, można po polsku, można po angielsku. Okay, so this is Asma, that's your point. In the meantime, I'm going to go to the people here. We've got new people. Hello, people. Hello, Rohana. You need to grab the mic so we can hear you. We've got people online. I'm just going to do a quick introduction. So we've got Rohana, who we've got here on the mic.
Hello there, my name is Rohana.
Rohana and? John, we've got Heather, we've got Asma, we've got Salma, we've got Maria, we've got Orysia, we've got Viola, we've got Kevin. Cześć, Kevin. Dziękuję, że przyszedłeś. We've got Alex, we've got Kane, and we've got Vinny, we've got Mikey behind me. Online, we've got George from Canada, and Laura, and I'm Margot. So we are here because of Polish Heritage Days. That's kind of how it started, but we're talking really broadly now. Remind me of the Rihanna or Rihanna. I'm easy with either. Rihanna, do you have any views? Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. So basically, I want to talk about kidney awareness. I'm a kidney transplant patient. I've had a kidney transplant 7 years ago, and I'm absolutely doing fantastic. And the reason why I'm here today is because I want to share my story, especially in the BME community, in the Asian community, most of all. People do not sign the organ donation because they think it's a big stigma. What I would like to say is that obviously it's given me a second chance to live my life again, and I'm raising awareness to get people to join the organ donation, to actually share their organ donations and give somebody the opportunity to save their life. Now, when my dad passed away in 1993, it was obviously to do with kidney failure. Then I had to have a kidney transplant because my kidneys failed due to a disease called glomerulonephritis. I'm now on Facebook sharing the awareness, and I really urge people to come forward and share the organ donation. If there's any views or anybody would like to speak to me personally, then by all means, please speak to me.
Thank you so much, Rihanna. I'm going to call her Rihanna. Thank you so much, Rihanna. Thank you for letting us know about your situation. I mean, it's really, I mean, you say you're speaking kind of particularly to the
BME community.
BME community. So thank you for this. And you mentioned about your family. I mean, you know, Yeah, so thank you so much for this. So we've got health on the table. We've got what's happening in Palestine. Are we reacting enough to this? Are we helping a community enough? We have a subject of Polish history. We've got living in Bradford, but actually being historically from Ukraine. Is it a welcoming place? We've got the Midlands perspective. We don't quite know what the Midlands perspective is on all of this, but Heather hopefully will tell us. And we've got Kane's hand up, and we had Vinny shouting out the Polish RAF pilots in the war. Are we aware of the conflicts right now in the world? Kane, I'm going to come to you.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I guess, bring in both points at once. So, like, firstly, both of my cousins have had kidney transplants. So, I mean, it's life. So, you know, my cousin, he had double kidney failure. He was on dialysis for about over a year, actually. So it makes a huge difference. I think on the second side, I'm Jewish and my family is Eastern European. They came here sort of pre-World War I. And I find it like what is happening and the push of Israel to a more conservative stance is disgusting. I think, as you say, it is ironic that as a community that has gone through genocide, that they are then enforcing that on another community.
Okay,
Absolutely.
thank you so much, Kane. In the meantime, so you bring this kind of, again, multi-perspective really to the issue of conflict and stuff. I'll come to you, Asma, just in 1 second. Viola, coś chyba uciekacie? Nie, zostajecie. Uciekacie. Okej. Pora drzemki, ja rozumiem, to też mi się zdrzemnęła, ale widzisz, nie można. Violu, z czym? Viola and Kevin are gonna go and have a nap. I think it's Kevin is the one who is gonna have a nap. Or maybe Viola, you too, I don't know. Viola, give us a final thing. Daj nam tutaj jakieś pytanie, jakieś stwierdzenie. Jak możemy na przykład polską kulturę świętować? Albo może ktoś coś powiedział, co ci tutaj jakby dało do myślenia. 1 second. Na mikrofonu. One second, Vinny.
Mam dużo znajomych z różnych kultur i Boże Narodzenie jest świętowane zmiksowane, ponieważ dużo ludzi posiada czy choinki, czy jakieś potrawy, czy wszystkie święta są miksowane. Ja mam przyjaciółkę, która jest z Niemiec, jest muzułmaninką teraz, ponieważ zmieniła religię, ale świętuje po prostu i męża, i rodzinę, i kulturę polską, więc myślę, że...
Czyli jest taki miks po prostu, tak, jest, ciekawie jest.
Jest święta polskie, ona ma przerzucone,
Tak.
ponieważ próbujemy wszystkiego.
Jasne. Czyli tak jakby polska kultura też jest jakby poszerzana, jakby ludzie się dowiadują o polskich tradycjach. Okej, dobrze. Mikrofon.
Też rozmawiamy na temat polskiej kultury, ponieważ to interesuje.
Okej.
Nie ma żadnych blokad, czy oni mi mówią o swoim,
Tak.
czy ja im mówię o polskim. Myślę, że jest wesoło.
Jest wesoło. Okay, so Viola, if this is your final thought, thank you very much for this. But Viola is saying that people and Kevin, Papa, hang on, Kevin to the camera. Papa, siema. Okay, so thank you very much, Viola. Dziękujemy, do widzenia. Zapraszamy nowe osoby. Maybe we can wipe Kane. Maybe we can wipe the seats down. And I will just recap and say what Viola said she's welcome to Talkaoke. It's a pop-up talk show. You may be Tim, you may not be Tim. I'm Asma, I'm going to come to you. So before you go, are we talking enough about the genocide? I'm going to call it.
Absolutely, that's what it is. Call it what it is.
Are we reacting enough to injustices in the world? Be it in Bradford, be it in Palestine.
I think we're not. I think there's a lack of humanity and compassion at the moment, and especially with the media bias. What it is the media talk about Israel's right to defend itself, but they won't talk about the Palestinians' right to exist. The media are constantly harping on about Hamas firing rockets into Israel. Well, that's point number 3. They'll blatantly miss out point number 2 and 1, where Israel are, coming into places of worship and firing missiles and air and gas into places of worship. They are firing rockets into hospitals, into mosques, and you know the kind of lies that Israel spew about Hamas having hiding in places of worship and human shields. It's all lies. Everybody can see through it. The only people that refuse to call it out are the governments, the US government, the British government. We demand to know where our money is going, our taxpayer money. Why are we funding the Israeli Defense Force? Why are we funding these terrorists? Why are we funding the murder of innocent Palestinian children, women, and the entire... They are trying to wipe out the state of Palestine, but it will never happen. It will never happen. Palestine will not disappear.
Okay, so Vinny,
We are white and they are invisible because we are brown skinned. You can't see us, but I could speak Yorkshire.
All right, Vinny, so
Lord Mountbatten.
I also, okay, I'd also like to just...
Our countries would have done that.
All right,
They would have bombed us.
Vinny. So I will just quickly finish off. Vinny, I'm just gonna
to quickly finish off.
We're gonna let.
Down with Sinn Féin.
All right, can we not go into
Thank you.
go into debate, please?
We are visible.
Yeah.
Vinny,
They are invisible.
No, I don't. I mean, to be honest, I don't agree with racism. I don't agree with white, brown, black. We're all people. We're all human beings.
Okay. So I'm just going to recap it all. And okay, Vinny, if you want to speak, you need to come on the microphone. Vinny, I'm going to use the... Vinny, all right. So I will just say...
And England did nothing.
Vinny, come on now, let's leave it.
As soon as we do something,
all right. So for people online, I will just say we are doing Talkaoke here.
I'm not saying you're Irish.
Okay.
Because I'm not saying I'm Irish.
Okay, so I'm just going to say welcome to Talkaoke. If this is your first time, this is a pop-up talk show. We are here talking about whatever people want to talk about. Asma had just brought a point in, and on top of that, we've got a new person over there just listening. Come and join us. This is a pop-up talk show. And we've got a new person. Hello, welcome. We've got a new person over here. What's your name?
I'm Sue.
Sue, welcome, Sue. I think you are a familiar face. Online, we've got George and Laura. We've got Alex over here. We've got Arisha, and we've got Maria, and we've got Asma and Salma. Thank you so much for sharing your views. And I hope that you can... Thank you so much for bringing in those subjects. I would like to just throw it out there. Vinny, I just want to find out from the ladies. So this is a Talkaoke where everyone has got right to speak. And I'm going to just carry on here. What is your name? Because I can hear you listening to us. Vinny, do you want to grab a seat? Because I can't actually hear you if you're not on the mic.
England.
Okay, I'm just gonna come and take a seat.
Panthers are in England.
Right.
Poland.
Do you want to...
Can you please be careful with your language?
This is Talkaoke where we are trying to keep the space open. We're trying to keep this open.
I think you need to tell him to go.
We're gonna come back to this shortly. We are having a little bit of a conversation here about all sorts of things, and in the meantime, we've got new people at the table.
Fucking invite me in, because I will tell you the truth.
And we are in Bradford today. We are on the streets.
Jesus.
Vinny, can you please control your language, please? We're in Bradford.
And we are in Bradford today. Thank you, Rihanna. I'm just going to Sue does a seat over there if you want to grab a please.
And you are being rude by using intimidated language.
We're gonna pause Talkaoke for the moment because there's a lot going on the street. But that's what we do. We go onto the street. And we just there in the heart of the community. and anything can happen, really. That's what's happening with the talkaoke.
You're all just absolutely.
In the meantime, we're just going to carry on. And in the meantime, we've got new people around the table. Can I grab your name? I didn't grab your name. Nikita. Nikita's a brilliant name. We've got Sue over there. We've got Alex over there. We've got Arisha. We've got Maria. We've got Rihanna. We've got John, of course, John, and we've got Heather. And we've got Rihanna. We're going to come to Rihanna now.
Yeah, can you get into the call, please?
Right, so after this, and we've got people online, we've got George, we've got Laura, this is Talkaoke. We are here to celebrate multicultural, well, actually, we're here to have a conversation. Rihanna, over to you.
Is this on?
Yes, give us a sound check.
Hello.
Yes, people online, can you hear Rihanna?
Hello.
George, can you hear Rihanna? If you're still there?
Yes, we can.
Perfect, thank you very much. Okay, Rihanna, over to you. Hello. Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon. I hope everybody can hear me. So basically, I've met Heather here today, and I've met somebody else here today, obviously with kidney transplant conversation we've had. Now, basically, I'm sharing my story, having a kidney transplant again, just to touch up a few words. So it's been 7 years I've had a kidney transplant. I was on dialysis for 9 months. Now, I was very lucky to get a kidney transplant, but unfortunately for some people, because of their blood group, that doesn't match, because obviously some people are not signing the organ donation. There's still a lack of people, not coming forward to actually sign the organ donation. And what I just want to do is, please, I urge you to sign the organ donation. I want people to save lives. There's a lot of people out there that are dying because they don't have the opportunity to go on the transplant list, whether it's a lung transplant, a heart transplant, a kidney transplant. There's so many issues that people are facing. So, I'm glad I've been given this opportunity to speak a few words to say, please join the organ transplant. I'm also on Facebook. If people want to follow me, my name is Rahana Kausa. I'm also raising money for Kidney Research UK, and I'm here today just to share these words. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rihanna. Thank you so much for sharing that. And now I've got a question to everybody.
Thanks, Heather.
Is giving your organs to a person who needs it, is that a thing to do to bring the community together? Is talking about history and sharing your story, is that, how can we bring communities together? How do we link together? Before you came on the mic, I'll just recap very quickly for the new faces around the table. Nikita's just kind of wandered over there. Maybe she can come back. And for new people online, I will just say that we've been talking about Bradford being a multicultural city, people maybe not being as connected as they have once been, and also talking about what are we doing for a community, are we sharing awareness of the issues in the world. We had a conversation about Palestine, are we aware of the struggles of other people and other nationalities out there. We've got perspectives from Belarus, sorry, not Belarus, maybe from Belarus, I don't know. I'm assuming no one's from Belarus, but it might be. We've got Ukraine, we've got Canada, we've got Poland, we've got Bradford, we've got Midlands. We've got all these different perspectives. Are we doing enough to connect? This is where we're at. We're talking about restaurants in Bradford before as well. And we're talking about history and Polish pilots. And the history, do we know enough about it? Do we celebrate enough? We are here, partly thanks to the Bradford Council. We're also partly here because of Polish Heritage Days. Bradford's got a lot of Eastern European communities, so we're talking about that. Do people know about I will also say, lady who sat here earlier, Viola, Polish lady, she was talking about mixed celebrations of Christmases and people having curiosity about other cultures. So that's kind of where we are, but I want to throw it out to other people. What do people want to talk about? This is Talkaoke, and that goes to you guys online as well. What do we want to talk about today?
Sorry, I'm talking again, but I will give somebody else a chance to talk. I think people should talk about, with COVID, everyone's been isolating. We've not had a chance to see our neighbours, friends, family, so forth. I think it gives us another opportunity from May the 17th when we'll be able to sit in, have a nice meal, and also socialise, you know, get together, you know, sort of build our confidence as well, because there's been a lack of confidence for people, because, you know, we've been inside, we're enjoying ourselves. So I think this is another day, you know, from Monday starting, for us like to see each other again.
I've got a question for you, actually for anyone. When you celebrate with a meal, you mentioned about meeting around a table, having a meal. Is it going to be a traditional British curry, a traditional Polish food? Or maybe it's going to be Ukrainian food. I don't know. How are you going to celebrate? And actually, maybe we can welcome, sir. This is Talkaoke. You can grab a seat. We're just talking about everything really right now.
I think it should be, you know, for everybody. I mean, whether it's Polish food or it's Asian food or it's English food, it should be variety. It gives everybody the opportunity of, you know, of the rights for when we get together, you know, to eat out.
Thank you so much, Rihanna. I'm going to give you a ding because we've got this little sound effect. Welcome, sir. Grab a seat. This is a Talkaoke. You're welcome to join us.
If you want.
Yeah, grab a seat. So, do we know enough about other cultures in order to celebrate in the style of different cultures? That's my question to everybody. Welcome. I'm Margot. What's your name?
Saeed.
Saeed, welcome, Saeed. We've got a gentleman over here. We've got Alex. Give us. Was that your final thoughts, Rihanna? Okay, I understand. Grab a card. Connect. Wonderful. Thank you, Rihanna. Thank you so much. Give a little round of applause as well. And to Saeed as well, because he just joined. Why not? Let's be free. So we've got online, Saeed. I will let you know that we've got Laura, we've got George from Canada. Laura's in London right now. We've got Alex over here. She came to Bradford 15 years ago? 16 years ago?
Yeah.
Right, may I ask from which country?
I came from Poland.
From Poland, we've got Orysia and we've got Maria from the Ukrainian club. No, Orysia, yes, Maria.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, you are. Okay, right. I just thought maybe something's changed in the course of this. Right, exactly, you are from here, but you have got the Ukrainian club perspective from running in Bradford. I kind of want to find out a little bit more about that. We've got Heather over there, and we've got Sue. Sue, are you a Bradfordian?
I'm not. I'm from York, and my mother was Irish.
Right, okay, so Irish roots, Irish perspectives, and Yorkshire. I mean, I want to find out a little bit more about this Ukrainian club. I mean, Saeed, I know you're a bit busy kind of putting your name down there on the list. Have you been to a Ukrainian club in Bradford? Do you know of it?
I've heard of it.
What do you know about Ukrainian club?
It's been around for a long, long time.
Right.
Many years. Since 70s, 80s.
Right.
I wanted to say that I've never actually been there.
Right. I mean, so it's been around for a long time. I mean, is it opening up anytime soon?
It's been here over 70 years.
70. 1 second. Do we have microphone up on Orysia? Cool. Nice one. Yes. Go, Orysia.
Ukrainian community's been here for over 70 years. First settlers came after the Second World War as refugees.
Right.
And yes, we are planning to reopen. We're at the bank holiday weekend at the end of May. We are hoping to reopen the bar. So we have got lovely grounds. So there is outdoor seating and there is indoor facilities as well. We do hire out the premises for a range of venues. Hence, people will have heard of us. Sort of, it's multicultural, so we hire out to anybody who's interested.
Right.
But do come along. We have had to share. We have tried to share our cultural heritage throughout Bradford. Have been welcome, but initially, our parents, sort of my parents, Maria's parents, who came over in that first wave, were quite insular and they didn't want to ask for help. They tried to do everything themselves and did keep themselves to themselves. And because Ukraine never got to join the EU through Putin's intervention is the best way of describing it. So we didn't have the influx of new Ukrainians in the early 2000s when a lot of the Polish community did get a new influx. And people of sort of my children and such have diversified, moved out of the area for better jobs, got different interests. And because we work as volunteers, it is hard to sort of promote ourselves, but we do welcome anybody.
Okay, so we found out a little bit about this Ukrainian club, and in the meantime, I will just let you know we've got Roland here online. Hello, Roland, is that right?
Hello. Hiya.
Welcome, Roland. We've got George, we've got Laura, we've got Saeed, we've got a new person as well. Daryl, do you want to grab a pew there? Join the conversation for a few minutes. Why not? I'm Margot.
Hello. Yeah, that's my name.
Yeah, Roland. Thank you, Roland. So we've got Alex over here. I'll just do a round of names. Why not? We've got Arisha, we've got Maria, we've got Heather, and we've got Sue. At the moment, we were just talking about a Ukrainian club. What I picked up from what Arisha was saying is you're doing a lot to promote the Ukrainian culture through the club. Along with Maria, but is it always easy? Is it always easy in Bradford? And we've got a new person. What's your name? Daryl, if you come closer to the mic, and of course we will be able to hear you. Can you hear Daryl? Just say hello on the mic.
Hello, good afternoon, Daryl speaking.
Maybe you need to kind of loosen it. Yeah.
Good afternoon.
All right. Can you hear Daryl on the microphone, people? People online, Roland, can you hear Daryl?
Hi, this is Daryl.
You can, yeah, fine. I can't hear him, but maybe we can fix that. So at the moment we're talking about Ukrainian club. Syed, you knew a little bit about it, maybe not so much. We're talking about promoting cultures to other cultures. Is it always easy? Sue, you've got a point you want to come in with?
What are the links like between different Eastern European cultures? Right. So the Ukrainian and the Polish communities, are the links strong there?
Yeah.
We do try to interact. When we celebrated our 70th anniversary 3 years ago now, we did do sort of like a big garden party festival where we did invite as many of the Eastern European communities. Well, not just Eastern European, we invited a range of communities throughout Bradford, but we certainly did ask for contribution, sort of performances from the Polish, Estonian, Latvian, whoever had anything that they could present, we did. And historically, we shared what we call the captive nations, which was sort of all the nations around Russia that were under Soviet rule, formed a Captive Nations Committee, and we did annually host a concert where all those nations took part. So we always have interacted because we have that something in common.
Yeah, so there's that. So it's about looking for commonalities. I mean, you also mentioned the kind of need to kind of organize a little bit. Without the kind of infrastructure, maybe it would have been a bit difficult to get the culture out there. I mean, also you mentioned something about generations. Maybe your generation, that there hasn't been an influx of young Ukrainians coming because of political reasons. And I think politics in itself has been a big part of today's conversation. I mean, is it down to us to bring cultures to other people and share? Is it down to government? Saeed, you want to come in? And Sue, you unveiled yourself, so I will come to you next, I think, maybe. And Daryl, you're welcome to jump in. Let me know when you want to speak, and I'll bring you in. But we're going to go to Saeed.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of my experience, Bradford has always been quite welcoming of others. It's been really a city where 50 years ago, maybe, certain communities had to fight in order to get recognised.
Right.
But there have always been people who have been willing to reach out, integrate, talk to others. You mentioned the word commonalities, looking for commonalities. And I think in general terms, Bradford has always been welcoming. It's a city that's actually, doesn't recognise people's differences. It's more about commonalities.
Okay, so Bradford actually is a place where people can find those commonalities, and maybe easier so because there's so many different nationalities. So, I mean, is that your experience? I mean, has it been always easy to connect with other people in Bradford? Daryl?
Hi, Daryl. I'm from the Dominican community, and that's from the Caribbean. And in terms of the black communities, that was the biggest kind of cohort of the black community in Bradford from the early 1960s. It's a much more diverse community since then, but as a member of the Dominican and Bradford born and bred, you know, Bradford is welcoming, and it's a very diverse city. And, you know, I think there's issues really for people in terms of when they look outside, more towards the periphery of Bradford, and, you know, how welcome are we more in the peripheries. But as a core within the city of Bradford, I think there's a good mix. And, you know, in terms of like the community centres, I've been to the Polish club, Ukrainian club, extremely welcoming, a very warm experience. The Dominican Association is a club that's been long-standing as well. And, you know, in terms of integrating, you know, I'm not sure if it's as strong as it was, but in terms of kind of looking towards, you know, the local authority, the council to take the lead, I don't think we necessarily need to do that. We've got enough nous and enough gumption, you know, to connect up ourselves really. So we don't necessarily need local government or big government to tell us how to do it. We know.
So take it in your own hands, go and integrate. If you want to go to Ukrainian club, I'm glad that you have been to Ukrainian club, Daryl. And I know that you guys, you have to go, but I just wanted to very quickly ask, from people who maybe aren't Polish, I mean, we are here to celebrate Polish Heritage Days, but how to best celebrate, I don't know, Polish culture, Ukrainian culture, what kind of speaks to people who aren't maybe part of that culture, how to best promote. And I will just also say that whilst we're having this conversation, and hello to everybody who's just kind of observing from the outside, we've got Laura who has been visualizing this conversation. So we've got some images, and Laura is going to maybe share some on the screen shortly. And Roland, of course, if you want to jump in and say something, please do. But I really like what you said, Daryl. Don't wait for the government to tell us how to integrate, how to celebrate. Just do it. But also, what will convince you to find out more about Polish or Ukrainian culture? What would be a pull? And I'm going to come to Sue.
I don't think it's as straightforward as just kind of having the will. And have done quite a bit of work with the Linking Network, which is an education charity based in Bradford for 20 years. And its aim is to break down barriers between cultures via children, and it's actually a very involved process. And the starting point 20 years ago was lots of energy and hope and forward focus. But actually, over the years of doing it, 20 years, it comes away from how actually involved it is, and how dealing with preconceptions, and how sometimes preconceptions can actually be reinforced by contacts if they're not carefully managed, how people can just go away. They might have been in a place with a different culture, but sometimes they can actually go back home. It's reinforced a negativity, and you don't even know about it. So it's actually a very kind of considered programme, and is funded by local government, but also central government. And it you know, the ethos of trying to start with children, but even there, it's, you know, it has to be very carefully handled. I think it's complex.
Okay, so it's complex. Maybe it's not as easy as what Daryl said. I also have George. You want to shout out something to the Ukrainian club? Do you want to ask your question to the ladies, because they're about to go? But and I'll come back to what you said, Sue.
Sure. I'm just wondering if there's any archival material from 1945 to 49 that's maintained by the club.
So is there any archival material from the club that that George will be able to access? Maybe you can swap details. Orisha, you want to come in on that one? Is there anything?
Records we have of people settling in Bradford are about 1947.
47.
And we have sort of a brief historical summary actually on our webpage. So we do have a website. It's AUGB Bradford. AUGB Bradford.com.
So Mike is just gonna pop that in the chat, or maybe I will. Okay, so archives. I mean, I hope that gives you something, George. But for sure, you can probably
and then you can just email. So there's an email address on there that you can email any questions, specific questions to, and we'll do what we can to help.
And I can confirm that you guys are very good on email. So if you've got any questions about Ukrainian culture or anything to do with the Ukrainian club in Bradford, Arisha and Maria, they're your people. They will tell you everything you need to know. Before you go, can you give us a final thought or some kind of question or maybe a new topic that you want to throw in there? I mean, we are here celebrating cultures, Polish culture, but also the culture of Bradford. Anything?
I just promote, we do have an annual beer festival, Pivofest, which didn't go off last year because of COVID. We are hoping it will take place again this year in the second weekend of November. Again, if you log into the AUGB website, there is a Facebook Ukrainian Club Facebook page where it would be advertised, and that does have as many Ukrainian beers as we can get into the country, and a lot of other Eastern European beers.
I feel like Daryl may use that invitation. He may actually pop up, you know.
Absolutely, yes, it does strike a chord, because I was going to say...
Ukrainian food is also available.
Okay, so Ukrainian food, Ukrainian beers in November, that's what you need to go and check out. Kane, you've got a point?
I was just wondering what Ukrainian food is, because, I mean, I'm Jewish, Eastern European, and it seems like, you know, Margot's Polish, and it seems like a lot of the Polish food is all the Jewish food, but with added pork.
It's very similar. Polish food and Ukrainian food are very similar, where Polish people call their potato dumplings, Ukrainians call them vareniki, and Polish call them pierogi. Borscht, a beetroot soup, very, very similar.
Are you making me hungry?
Holubchi, but yeah, we do our best at the Pivofest to cater for food, and
so you will get fed and you will get hydrated in alcoholic beverages, but probably not only alcoholic. So maybe Said, you've been to the Ukrainian club some while back. You are aware of it, or maybe you've never been.
Yeah, I'm aware of it. I've never actually been. I do know in Bradford there's a lot of different clubs: Italian club, Polish club, Ukrainian club. There's all kinds of clubs, and that's the good thing about Bradford, because there are these places where people are able to, I suppose, celebrate their own identity, but also unite with others, because in terms of being human, we have this natural need to connect with others. And because we have this natural need to connect with others, we're more likely to reach out to other people from other communities.
Okay, so we've got Said here. Okay, girls, thank you so very much for popping in. Really appreciate you finding time to come and join us again after the online Talkaoke. See you later. So we've got a point here from Said. We've got a new face at the table, just joining us here. Kane, would you be just so kind and just give us a little disinfection action? So we've got Said, we've got Roland, we've got George, we've got Laura, we've got Alex, we've got a new person.
Oh, hello.
Hello, how are you? And people just reconnected over the, I don't know. Yes, Mikey? I'm going to come to the visual. We've got, what's your name? We don't know your name at all.
Tim.
Tim, can you just say to the mic, can you hear, guys?
My name's Tim.
You can hear, fantastic. We've got Tim, we've got Daryl, and who's the young person on your lap?
His name is Kozia. My son is 2 years old and a real citizen of Bradford.
Real citizen. This is a new generation of Bradford.
Yeah,
we've got Heather, we've got Sue, I'm Margaret, and this is Mikey and Kane here as well. So Bradford is Said says Bradford is a good place to connect on a human level. So people got different perspectives, but we all have a need to connect as human beings. Alex, is that something that you feel as a young Bradfordian?
I think because of COVID and because of everything closing down, I think there's been a lot of limitation as to especially socializing in person, like just connecting with people. A lot of kind of, socializing and speaking with people has gone on over the phone or over social media. Mm-hmm. So I think, now that everything is reopening, I think we'll see a lot more of people seeing each other and that human connection. And that's really important in someone's life. Everybody complaining that they were really quite sad over the pandemic and over quarantine, which is completely understandable because you're only seeing yourself or the same people all the time. So now that places are reopening and now that we're going to actually be able to see other people, I think that's absolutely fantastic because it just gives people the opportunity to really have that human connection like what you were talking about.
Okay, so human connection, yes, please. Maybe do it. Maybe online is good, but maybe we can do it in a different way, face to face. I mean, is that something that you guys feel as well? I mean, are you like desperate to get out? Hello, this is Talkaoke. Welcome.
Sociable being, and
we're social. Okay, Daryl,
I'm extremely keen to go out and socialise and resume where I left off. You know, within my culture, when we greet, you know, because it's a Creole French culture, when we greet, actually, you know, you kiss actually on the cheek and so on, and that's just very natural. As I will walk through the market, I'll see people, maybe females, and I want to do that, but have to withdraw, so it's unnatural. So
I mean, so is it? I mean, is that something that British culture also does? I mean, like, do you guys, do Brits have to like hold back from being very physically welcoming? Is that something the Brits do? I mean, I don't know. Yeah, in your culture.
Yeah, I think it's different in different cultures. I mean, for example, like as a Muslim, naturally we shake hands with fellow people. Men shake hands with men, and women shake hands with women. So there is that connection. With regards to British culture, I don't know. It's just normally hi and a bye.
What does that mean?
It's well, you say hi to people.
Oh, right, yeah.
You might hug them if you know them really well, but obviously with COVID-19, it's a lot less touchy-feely.
Right.
But otherwise, yeah, it's different for different people and different cultures.
Okay, so British culture, it's a hi-bye kind of vibes. There's not going to be much physical contact, so maybe it's a good thing that COVID kind of gives an excuse, just like far away. But meanwhile, Darryl, you're going, which saddens me. But
I was going to make a final point because you were focused on, you know, Eastern European, and you know, I was going to mention around, you know, things like world cuisine and the kitchens and food and drink. Bearing in mind, not everybody is necessarily going to drink, or there might be issues in terms of whether the food is halal or the use of pork and so on.
Yeah.
But that's always a great way to celebrate. I've seen fantastic projects based around world cuisine, so I think that's a good way. And also with the European, Eastern Europeans, when I've been to those clubs, I got a history lesson actually, if I recall. And what really struck a chord with me was actually when it was the war or even slavery, which is an issue, you know, in these times of George Floyd and so on, they didn't partake in issues of slavery and so on. That was more of a place where you know, they weren't involved. And I thought, I'd never been taught that in history, and it was a real eye-opener actually to see how, you know, it's got a different perspective in terms of that Eastern European to Western European. Celebrate it.
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you very, very much for throwing in this extra point about different perspectives. You mentioned about George Floyd and the kind of, you know, the celebration. How you guys, the celebration now, and maybe celebration of the history back in the day. I mean, I want to bring in new people into the conversation. I mean, I mean, do you know much about Polish culture as Brits? What would help you connect with Polish culture more? And also, Tim, I don't know if you know anything about Polish culture. I have no idea.
I think what's helped me connect with other cultures over the lockdowns is Netflix. I know a lot about Denmark now. I've watched 40 episodes of The Killing, and I know have a few words, tack. But no, I thought that's yeah. I think it's
just before you go, just give us your final thought. Just give us 1 sec. One sec. Seriously,
yeah. Oh no! I just think that's the kind of I quite like that sideways approach, and that people get immersed in these programs. They love the stories, and actually, by the by, they learn quite a bit, certainly about interiors.
Okay, so I mean, is Netflix a good place to learn about different cultures?
It's a starting place.
It's a starting place. Said, you threw in a lot into today's conversation, but you need to go now. Obviously, you're welcome to stay here as long as you want to. But before you go, if you really have to go,
I do, unfortunately, I've got to do a bit of shopping.
Oh, fair enough. This is a marketplace. Hello, welcome. Grab a seat over there. What is your final thought? What do you want to throw in?
I'd say this is great. It's really good being here. It's really good that there's this opportunity for anybody to actually join in the conversation. I think it's very new, excellent. I think there should be a lot more of it.
Okay, so more Talkaoke in Bradford is how I'm going to interpret it. Thank you very much, Said. Go and do your shopping. Apparently, it's very, very good veg here. That's what I learned today. I didn't know that. Kane, you want to come in?
I was just going to agree with that. I mean, sort of pick up the point about Netflix. There is apparently the most successful shows are those that are really specific, like for quite a specific audience. Be it like a Swedish thriller or a slightly more trashy show aimed at an Asian audience that actually has a huge following, and it's really, I think it's flipped our ideas, particularly in the UK, about who like the audience is for like mainstream TV, and actually something that is in Polish or Ukrainian or Sweden, like that can have a huge audience.
Yeah, there was a great Polish detective
whoops, my Zoom
series
just
on.
crashed.
Can't remember what it was called.
Okay.
Polish detective series, Margot.
Yes, on Netflix, yeah, it was great.
Wiem o tym. Hello, welcome to Talkaoke, by the way. Yes, so we're discussing, okay, so maybe it's about more diversity on TV. Maybe we don't need, we are here to celebrate Polish culture. It's part of Polish Heritage Days. Oh yes, we would like to have a look at Laura's visuals now. So I'm going to park this for a moment. Laura's our visualizer, and conversations have gone various directions today. We are looking like hawks onto the screen, Laura, so please share away. Bradford Talkaoke, not Nando's. I know, just let you know, that's how it all started. We started talking about different cuisines in Bradford. We found out Nando's is a big thing, but do you know where Nando's came from? You guys over there, do you know where Nando's is from? Do you go to Nando's? Come and get involved. It's a pop-up talk show. Bradford as a good place to meet and to connect. We were talking about COVID earlier. Maybe that's something that prevents people from being too close to each other. But maybe that's the British nature anyway. That was said, actually, not my supposition. We're talking about history. We're talking about Palestine. Do we know about the history unfolding right now? We had Asma earlier on talking about Palestine and a Polish food shop. Maybe it's one from Bradford, I don't know. But is cuisine, Polish shops, Eastern European shops, is this the best way to learn about the culture in Bradford as a welcoming place? You're welcome to join as well, by the way, if you want to come and get involved. We're just going through some visuals. Welcome to Talkaoke. Do you have a next one, Laura? Do we have any more? Feel free. I can have a go, says the chat. I don't know what this means. Is there any more, Laura? Or are we kind of kicking off with the first visual? Whilst you're loading the next one, we've got a new person around the table. And I should just say, witamy, I'm just going to say in Polish now because I'm bored periodically speaking in English. Periodically is not the word I was looking for, but I'll go with that for a moment. Witamy na Talkaoke, także witamy wszystkich, którzy mówią po polsku, ale tutaj nie ma zbyt wielu osób na razie, więc może powrócimy do tego tematu. Alex, maybe you can back me up with just feeling a Polish vibe. But we are here celebrating Polish culture. Sue, I could see that you were just about to escape, but I clocked you. So we've got people online, we've got Roland, we've got George, we've got Laura doing the visuals. Oh no, George is gone. Oh, damn. Anyway, we've got Sue, we've got Heather, who hasn't said much, but I'm very curious about your thoughts. We've got a new person over there, but I'll give him a chance to put the name down first. And we've got Tim over there, we've got Kane, we've got Alex, I'm Margot, there's Mikey over there. So Sue, you're about to go. Well, what are you going to leave us with? Because you threw in a lot.
Yeah, I think it's the key is children and education, getting into schools, getting it part of the curriculum, getting families into schools, getting the cultures into schools, celebrating the cultures in schools, and then they're doing it at 7, they'll probably still be doing it at 70. Just celebrating and celebrating other cultures and
celebration and education.
Breaking down the barriers.
Breaking down the barriers. And Netflix. I think that Netflix is another thing that I really picked up strongly with you. Yes, Sue, thank you so much. Sue as the Prime Minister and Mayor of Bradford. I don't know, maybe. So here's where we are. And if you don't know, jeżeli nikt nie wie, co tutaj się dzieje, to jest Talkaoke. Jest to talk show, w którym każdy może wziąć udział. So that's where we are at. I'm gonna maybe go to Roland. Roland, do you have any views on anything that we kind of said? Oh, painful connection, something. Bosh, Roland, where are you connecting from? I'm going to ask first of all.
I'm from Leicester. Well, currently.
Leicester.
Yeah, I'm talking from Leicester, yes.
Great. If you speak any other languages, feel free to shout it out in any language that you know.
Jasne, jasne. Oczywiście tak, mówię po polsku. Roland from Poland.
Super. And carry on. What point you'd like to make?
Well, not really. I mean, I just saw Laura's graphics, and I feel like I need to have a little bit of break and cook a borscht.
Okay, so is food a way to get to know other cultures? I mean, whilst you go and cook the borscht, I mean, do you cook many traditional dishes? I mean, is this a way to kind of keep our heritage going? I mean, this is part of Polish Heritage Days, the reason why we're here. Is Polish heritage remembered through food, or how? Is it up to us to remember the culture? Is it the government who should welcome to Talkaoke? You're welcome to join. How do we remember culture? How do we celebrate this heritage, whichever heritage it is? Hello, come and join us. It's a talk show. Roland, how do you celebrate Polish heritage?
How do I? Yeah. So very obvious one. Yeah, eating plenty of Polish food.
Yes.
That's a kind of primal thing, I think. Being connected to something that you know from a very early age. What else? Yeah, the language itself. I think it's important to remember where you are, where you're coming from, what your roots are. It's a complex thing, I guess. So there is no like a simple few sentences. It's a really wide subject, I guess.
Right, and okay, so thank you for this. I think so. We've got language, we've got food, we've got these things as a kind of your links to your culture. I want to kind of go around the table and just see for people who haven't yet spoken, and a new person. What is your name?
My name's Habib.
Habib.
I don't need to speak into that.
Yeah, you can speak to this, and Mikey, if he remembers, he may actually turn you up so then I can hear you as well. Habib.
You don't have to. It's okay.
Okay, say again. I think I got your name. It's Habib?
Yeah, that's right.
Habib. Habib, thank you, Habib. Welcome to Talkaoke. Witamy cię tutaj serdecznie. Do you know much about Polish culture, by the way?
I've travelled to Poland. I visited Krakow as
did?
part of a school trip. So I learned a little bit about Poland. We travelled around the Krakow Square.
Okay, so you've been to Kraków. Jeżeli ktoś tu jest z Krakowa albo z Polski, to zapraszam jak najlepiej przedstawić Brytyjczykom naszą kulturę. O tym właśnie teraz rozmawiamy. So you went on a school trip, so that links a little bit with what Sue was saying. Celebration and education. Is that two things kind of going hand in hand? I mean, Heather and Tim, I know that you guys haven't said much. What are your views on this? Have you got anything to throw in about any of these subjects?
Well, it's just interesting sitting here listening as the guy in Leicester. Is it Roman, his name?
Roland.
Roland, sorry. He, as he said, culture's is a complicated thing, you know. Different people kind of celebrate it in different ways. And I think we've talked a fair bit about food, and I think people who are from a certain culture, it is complicated, and they mark their own culture in different ways, and it's complicated. But I think food is a good way in for outsiders because, well, it's a way of sharing your culture. And the reason I'm actually sitting here is because I've just been to the Polish deli in John Street Market,
right?
Which I can highly recommend to everybody. And I don't know, I was first introduced to Polish food, well, Eastern European food at places like the Polish Club in Bradford, the Ukrainian Club in Bradford. And whenever I've been there, people have been very welcoming, and one way of welcoming an insider into your culture is to feed them.
Okay, so you can find out about Poland through food. Go and check out the deli in St. John, no.
John Street Market,
John Street Market.
which Oastler Market.
Oastler Market, people. If that's where you're gonna get your best Polish food. I mean, Habib, have you been to that market?
No, to be honest, I haven't. I don't.
Closer to the mic, so the people online can. Oh, we've got a new person as well. As Zara from Bradford for everyone. Hello, Zara. Do you want to just give us a quick sound check? Zara is overwhelmed, I think, right now. Zara, when you're ready to speak, just give us a shout so we can, so we know that you are there. Yes. So Habib, you were saying you've not been to Poland. Have you tried Polish food?
No, to be honest, I haven't tried Polish food. It's not really the way that I would probably like integrate with the culture, because the people maybe they tend to drink and stuff, and I'm a Muslim, so I can't really eat the sausages and the meats and stuff like that. So it was really difficult for me to integrate in that way. Okay. But in general, I mean, whilst traveling through Poland and through the city, and I got to visit other types of food places such as like shawarmas and ice cream parlors. But in terms of like the sausages and that side of stuff,
Zapraszamy na Talkaoke tutaj, panów, kochanych. No nie, panowie idą dalej. Sorry, I just wanted to get these guys.
Yeah, and I mean, like in terms of beer, that wasn't really the way that I was integrating with the Polish culture. More in the way of visiting the city and stuff, and relaxing in the park and stuff like that.
So what connected with you? Was it more like the setting of the city, maybe the history? What was it that connected you? If maybe food wasn't the one.
No, I mean, in terms of in general, I mean, I just obviously recognize the people as one, as equal as me, because in our essence, our blood colour is all red. So in that way, it was always normal to just look good and
Come and take a seat.
Yes.
Sorry, Habib, I'm just going to introduce these guys.
That's fine.
Welcome. This is a pop-up talk show. This is Talkaoke. Tim, are you bouncing? Are you going? All right. Just give us your final thought. Just give me 1 second. I'll just introduce these guys. And we've got a new person here as well. Welcome to Talkaoke. So, welcome you guys. This is Talkaoke. This is a pop-up talk show, which means that you are the stars of this talk show. Witamy, hello. We've got new faces online as well. The format is very simple. I'm just going to be here in the middle, and I'm just going to see what you guys want to talk about. So far, we talked about, is Bradford a welcoming place? Do young generations know about different cultures here? Do you know where Nando's comes from? Have you been to a Polish shop or a Polish a market? We were talking, Habib, you went to Poland.
Yeah.
And you went on a school trip. Have you guys been much outside of Bradford? What cultures are in Bradford? Are we connecting enough as human beings? And I'm explaining the rules here, and I'm recapping some of the themes. But also, we've got a new person over there. Welcome. And we've got new people online. We've got Geraldine, if that's your name. I don't know. Geraldine, would you like to give us a sound check quickly? Can online people hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, all right. Zara, do you want to give us hello quickly?
Hello.
Zara's listening. We've got Roland, we've got Laura, and I'm Margot. What are your names?
Hassan.
Hassan?
Yeah, Mando.
Mandu? Nisha? All right, Tim, give us your final thought. All right. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for coming. Really nice to meet you in 3D as well. Okay, so Nisha, Mandu, Hassan, and... say it on the mic, because the people online can't hear.
Philo pastry.
Philo pastry. I have a lot of time for Philo.
Hassan.
And... and your name is?
Neni.
Nini.
His name, but I call him Neni.
Many.
His nickname is Neni.
Neni.
Yeah.
Neni, Nisha, Hassan, and Bando. And we've got Habib over there. We've got Heather. I'm Margot. This is Alex. And can I get your name as well?
Jock.
Love your name, Jock. And we also have Zara, Laura, Roland, and Geraldine. So, guys. They're just having a little round. Yes, you've got a point. Please throw that in.
They're playing tick.
Oh, they're paying a ticket. That's fine. So you know more or less what we're talking about. Bradford is a welcoming place. We are here because of Bradford for Everyone. We're here thanks to the Bradford Council and, of course, Polish Heritage Days, Polish Embassy. We want to kind of get the conversation going, find out, do people know much about other cultures in Bradford? If so, how can we celebrate other cultures? Habib, you were talking food, connecting through Polish food, Ukrainian food, may not be for everyone. If you don't drink alcohol, if you don't eat sausages, but maybe common points in history. We're talking about the war, we were talking about what's happening in Palestine, we were talking about, gosh, everything. But how it is for you guys? Sorry, I'm just like popping the mic. Jog, do you have views on this? Do you guys celebrate culture?
We celebrate all cultures.
Yes, and how do you do this?
In the way that they normally do it.
Who's they?
So let's just say for Christians, how they celebrate, like Jesus, how they celebrate Judaism. Yeah, you talk about. You know, you telling me the other day talk.
So maybe like different people, maybe different religions.
Like Christmas.
Customs. Yeah, Christmas, that came up as well. Polish lady was talking.
Halloween as well, isn't it? Halloween,
yeah. Nisha's back. Welcome, Nisha. Okay, so maybe we've got, and in the meantime, guys, just hello, Nisha. At the moment, just to let you know, hello over there, we've got also visualizations happening because this conversation is being visualized by our artist, Laura. Habib, I am seeing you. I'm not seeing you, but I am seeing you, don't worry. And everyone's welcome to join. Come and join us. It's Bradford. Just very quickly on this visual, you can see it on the screen over there, guys. How to celebrate Polish heritage. You said, Mandu. Yeah. Mandu said, if you're Christian, maybe you've got Christian traditions that you follow. If you're Jewish, maybe you follow Jewish traditions. Maybe if you're Muslim, you've got your traditions. I mean, Heather, do you celebrate culture? Do you know much about cultures in Bradford?
Not as much as I'd like. Not as much as I'd like, which is why I'm here.
Okay.
I want to sit and listen and learn, basically.
I could tell you a bit about Islam's culture.
Yeah.
How we celebrate Eid because of we get bored.
Mubarak actually has to be said. We have to say that. Yeah.
What about Diwali?
And Diwali, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I used to celebrate Diwali in 1985 when I was a bit younger. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, do we celebrate? Do we know about other holidays where Diwali comes from? What is Eid all
India.
about? Christmas, all that kind of stuff.
Diwali comes from India, innit?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so tell us a bit about it. I mean, if somebody doesn't know much about Diwali, how do they find out? Jock, do you know about Diwali? Okay, maybe tell us quickly.
About what, sorry?
Diwali?
Diwali is the most of the people that come from. So like Urvashi, she celebrates Diwali and how she like runs away from people.
Okay, on the mic, yeah.
She's one of my close friends in it, and she celebrates Diwali.
Diwali, and what is it about?
I don't know. I don't really know.
Okay, so this call out goes to absolutely anybody right now. What is Diwali all about? People online as well for you. Do you know about Diwali? That goes to Zara, to Geraldine, and to Roland, and to this gentleman. Welcome, dzień dobry, witamy. Join the Talkaoke. Talking about celebrating culture through religious rituals and holidays. Do you celebrate? What holidays do you celebrate, sir? Interesting bag. Did you come to the market here in Bradford today? Yeah, come and join us. This is Talkaoke. Let us know. Tell me about it. I've got this delicious food here, and I'm just talking here. Just tell us very quickly.
Today we're all fasting here.
Polish culture.
We're all fasting, so we can't eat yet.
Oh, you fasting still? Oh, sorry about this. But
no, we kind of doing some different part. Like, in Islam, there's like about 40 or 70 like different ways to follow it. No, it's fine.
Apologies.
It's okay.
Yeah, right. But thank you for letting us know. I've got a question to this gentleman.
Our fast opened yesterday.
Our fast opened.
That was the other fast. That was yesterday's fast.
Fake news. All right. Cool. Sir, I just want to ask, do you know much about Polish culture in Bradford? Because we're here to celebrate Polish heritage. And guys, give me 1 second. I'll just ask this gentleman on the mic. 2 seconds. Do you know? Okay, that's fine. Please stay.
Don't stay, my G.
Maybe.
Bro, come back.
Maybe he'll come back later. We don't know.
Come back, man.
I will just say this. So, Jog, do you celebrate any traditions? Do you celebrate any traditions like Diwali, maybe Christmas, anything like this?
No, not really, no.
What kind of stuff do you celebrate? Are there reasons to celebrate? Do you
Just Christmas and birthdays.
Christmas and birthdays, right? Okay, what do you do? I mean, is there a special way in which you celebrate these
Just
things?
eat, chill out.
Eat and chill
food,
out.
drink, chill out.
Right.
Eat food and drink.
Eat food and drink.
Really sorry, can I just jump in with
Of
something really
course,
quickly?
Alec.
You're drinking a Polish beer. That's all. That's just what I wanted to say.
Right, polskie piwo, nie wiem, czy ktoś tutaj pije. O, dzień dobry.
What does beer taste like?
Food and drink. Yeah.
Hello?
Sing.
Mr.
Well, come and get involved because actually music hasn't come up.
Music is the spice of life.
Gentlemen, please come and take a seat. We're talking, Habib, I can see you. And people online, I can see you. Mamy tutaj polskie piwo. Nie promujemy żadnego piwa. Dzień dobry, witamy. Zapraszam, tutaj rozmawiamy o polskiej kulturze w Bradford, ale nie mamy tu zbyt dużej polskiej reprezentacji właśnie, nie wiem dlaczego. Sorry, I don't know. Okay, so guys, before this turns into complete mayhem, I'm gonna come to Jog's point. Jog, czy pan mówi po polsku może też? No, Polish beer, yes. Polish language, not so much. Not so good. Okay, cool. Do you know Polish language? Do you know about Polish culture? Have a think.
I know four player called Lewandowski in it.
Lewandowski, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Right, we're on to something, guys. Szczęsny, okay.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Messi.
Messi, yeah, okay. So Polish and beyond.
Yeah, no, he's not.
Messi.
One thing I would like to say, yes, free SJ. He's in jail, 21 years.
Who's that?
SJ, one of our brothers, one of our Polish brothers that we used to chill with, but he got attempted murder, but he didn't do it.
Can I find out a little bit more about it? And so we've got Polish. Who is this person you're talking about?
He was. Free my bro, SJ125. It was discrimination because he was Polish.
Okay, was that something that happened in Bradford?
Yeah, just outside Bradford.
Outside of Bradford.
Yeah.
So somebody got discriminated. I mean, is discrimination a thing?
Yes, of course.
Still?
Yeah, it is definitely.
Okay. Hello, welcome.
Listen, can we just go break our fast, please? Quickly.
You can go and break your fast, and you're gonna come back.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, before you go, the person over there. Okay, so we've got. Actually, there was a guy here talking about singing. Thank you guys. Till 9 o'clock. Okay, come and take a seat. Come and get involved in this. This is a pop-up talk show. Zapraszamy wszystkich, którzy mówią po polsku, ale także po angielsku. Jest to, dzień dobry, witamy. I to jest talk show, w którym Państwo możecie mówić o czym tylko chcecie. Rozmawiamy o polskiej kulturze w Bradford. You mentioned about the fast. Can I get your names actually quickly, guys? Come and get involved. Witamy, hello. So that's it. So people went to break their fast. Heather, you're here to find out more about cultures of Bradford. And welcome, by the way, this is Talkaoke. Habib, we're talking about discrimination. And from what I understood, Lewandowski, we talked about Lewandowski. Yeah, Lewandowski, so football. I mean, is sports something that Polish culture should be celebrated through? Is there, Lewandowski?
My favourite Polish footballer is Łukasz Fabianski.
Fabianski, do we know much about football here? No. Łukasz Fabianski. Lewandowski, okay. Do we have any fans of Lewandowski here? Czy mamy tu fanów Lewandowskiego? Dzień dobry, witamy. Hello. Oh, Geraldine, we can hear your music, so I'm going to mute you for the moment. Thank you. Okay, so this is where we are at. I feel maybe it's a natural time for me to maybe swap around with another Talkaoke host, because I don't know much about football, but I've got some views. But actually, guys, where should we take this conversation? Alex, you've been here with us since the beginning. Has there been anything that that we've been kind of discussing that you want to kind of bring in. We talked about food, talked about Nando's, talked about Polish club, Ukrainian club, closeness of contact, loneliness that COVID has exposed, the fact that Bradford used to be maybe more connected, now not so connected, and all sorts of things. Anything that struck you? Anything?
I just like to go back to the conversation of food. I think food is such a vessel for conversation and for learning about other cultures, because food is present in every culture. Food is present in everyone's lives.
Yeah.
So yeah, with food, people just come together. Of course, like it was spoken about before, you haven't tried Polish food because it's very pork based, and it is. So there's obviously limitations to it, but you know, I've learned about other cultures through food. Been to Indian restaurants, I learned about things there, the flavours of the food, and you know, different parts of food spark conversation. You talk about the taste of the food, where the food comes from, but then also there's that beauty of preparing the food as well. So one of the kind of family traditions that we have is our mothers pass on pierogi recipes to their daughters. So my mum passed it on to me, her mum passed it on to her. And it was quite a bonding moment when we, for the very first time that we made pierogi, and it wasn't even eating the food that brought us together, it was actually making it and creating the food that sparked that conversation.
Right, I think you're onto something very beautiful there. So there's the food, but there's also the personal kind of, I don't know, bond within the family and bond between a daughter and her mum. There's something beautiful about passing on the recipe and pierogi. I mean, I guess you can get a vegetarian pierogi. Maybe that's pierogi. Are you familiar? Do you know about this? Okay, Alex, I think you're going to have to go into some detail here about pierogi.
Pierogi.
Hello, welcome.
A dumpling-like dish from Poland. It is dough with some sort of filling. You can kind of get all fillings. The most traditional one is cabbage and mushroom. And then you eat it with like a little bit of fried onion. Some people like to eat it with a bit of fried bacon. You can get it with meat inside. You can have them sweet. You can have them with blueberries inside and like covered in yogurt. It's a very versatile dish. It's literally just a dumpling with some sort of filling, and then they're boiled. Sometimes they're fried as well.
That's a dumpling.
So like, is it like a pastry or?
Yeah,
sort of.
Is it like a ravioli wrap?
Yeah, sort of. Ravioli's pasta. So it's in the sense of the shape, it's like that, but it's not pasta, it's dough.
Okay. I mean, maybe the best way would be, Habib, if we at some point got some pierogi on the go.
Tortellini. Is it tortellini? Is it like tortellini?
Sort of.
I think that's probably the closest thing I've.
I mean, are you familiar with pierogi, Heather?
Yeah, I am, because I can get it in the grocery stores now, so I quite often buy it.
Get on the mic.
Sorry.
Yeah, nice one. Thank you.
So there's lots more on offer in like in the big grocery stores as well. So I often do try it. So I think it was a cottage cheese one last week. That was really nice.
Okay.
So I think food is brilliant for sparking conversation, because everybody has to eat.
Yeah.
So you might have to take certain things into account depending on who you're with, but there's normally something you can all share.
Yeah.
My entire dissertation project at university was about culture and how food fuels it. So my project was literally the thing that I spoke about. My mum teaching me the recipe for pierogi. We had that experience, and then I had that experience. So it was one-on-one performances that I did with people. So people would come into the kitchen, and I would show them how to make pierogi. I would tell them about the culture. I would tell them about my childhood and how it all linked together. So I did a lot of kind of research into how food and culture link together.
Wow.
So it is there. It's definitely present.
One of my strongest memories from childhood is going on holidays to my grandmother, who was from South Wales.
Yeah.
And standing in the kitchen helping her make, well, we called them bake stones. Most people call them Welsh cakes.
Yeah.
And I can still remember standing there and frying them on the griddle. And then my job, which was a really important one, was sprinkling over the icing sugar.
Wow.
You know, and I've still got her recipe, and I still share that, and I still do that. Not as often as I'd like to, but it's that way.
Right. So So this is a bunch of really new stuff that I'm learning here. And Alex, I had no idea about this whole project that you did about making pierogi one-on-one. Hello, madam. Come and shelter from the rain and join our talk show. And the same goes to you, sir. We're just going to change the Talkaoke host. Come and grab a seat. We're talking about Polish culture, but also Welsh culture. Talking about pierogi, which is a Polish dish. Are you familiar with this dish? Maybe yes, maybe no. We'll find out about it. I'm just gonna very quickly involve people online.
I had peas and eggs the other day. You know how
peas and eggs?
Like they were making boiled egg, and you can just spoon it out.
Okay, boiled egg, a traditional dish, very heavily symbolic as well. Thank you, Geraldine. Have you tried Polish food much?
That is Polish food, isn't it?
Oh, it is, a boiled egg.
Yeah.
Is boiled egg a Polish food? Maybe, yeah. Maybe you're onto something there. And Zara, I just want to bring, because we've got audience online as well, I should say. Zara, are you with us? I don't know if you can hear us, Zara.
I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah, success. Welcome, Zara. Welcome to Talkaoke. Hello, over there, if you want to shelter from the rain, you can come and join us. Madam, you can grab this microphone and you can tell us your name. I am a Margaret. You don't have to, you can listen. Alex is going to have to go, but before you go, Alex, quick question. Zara, do you know about Polish cuisine? Do you know much about that?
Well, similarly to other people that have been talking so far, I've actually been to Poland as well.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. So I have tried quite a few dishes, but I wouldn't know the names of them. It's really interesting just listening to other people sharing their kind of culture, their experiences. So similar.
So we're talking about food. Zara, who is online, listening to us from online, she's saying she's been to Poland. Have you ever been to Poland? No. Would you like to go to Poland? No. Okay. Are you from Bradford then? Come and grab a seat because it's really rainy here. Whoops. Okay. Well, Alex is going. Thank you, Zara. We're going to have to say goodbye to Alex. She is bouncing. I'm really sorry, Alex.
No, don't worry.
It's going very rainy out there. What is going to be your final thought then?
Try more food.
Try more food. Geraldine talked about boiled eggs. Thank you so much. You've been brilliant. Thank you. I'm sorry about the rain, guys. That's just how it is.
Can I say one thing before we go?
Yeah, you need to shout loud.
Oh,
and just to say, we've got Lewandowski here, visualized by Laura. Could Lewandowski do more culinary programs to involve more people, not just the football fans? Should he have his program on TV? Habib, over to you.
I want to say one more thing about obviously the whole thing that's going on in overseas, and I just want hopefully our prayers are with them. What's going on in Palestine and the Israel conflict. So I just wanted to point that out before we obviously finish up before the rain, and that hopefully all our prayers are with them and for all the unrest in mankind, hopefully.
Do you know what?
And I mean, obviously, in that way, obviously, that's the way everything's linked into the whole culture, just having unity and stuff like that. So I just wanted to point that out there and just say that hopefully that our prayers are with everyone that's struggling in the world.
Thank you for bringing this in. We have been talking about Palestine a couple of hours ago, actually, and there was a conversation about, do people know what their situation is actually about? Are we thinking about humans who are struggling and suffering in Palestine enough? Are we doing enough as a community? We're talking about the media. Can we truly talk about different cultures and food if there's stuff like this going on in the world out there? But right now, these are all the subjects on the table. Thank you for bringing that in. This is really super rainy out here in Bradford. Right now, I'm going to say to the camera, it's super rainy in Bradford right now. We're going to take a little break, people, and we'll come back when it's raining a little less because we can't hear anything. But that's the beauty of being out on the street. So if you can hang around and reconnect in a few minutes, it's a complete meteorological mayhem out here. So we'll be back shortly, people, after this massive cloud moves on. and we'll see where we can move on our conversation. Polish Heritage Days, Bradford City Council, and Bradford for everyone. That's why we're here. So tune in a minute.
We've got Margot on the controls now. We've got Kane doing all the cleaning. We've got Jock over here. And we've got Geraldine, we've got Zara and Laura online. We've heard a lot today. A lot of it's been about food.
There's no point.
And we're just having a bit of a chow down as well right now. Heather, you're about to leave us. You want to jump on mic 3 and just give us a final thought just to kick off this second session? Are you streaming live to Facebook again? On the People Speaks page? Oh, great. So, Heather, just give us a final thought before you go.
I think just being willing to listen sometimes is all that's needed. Is listen and learn.
Yeah.
But good topics of conversation is normally food and the weather, as we've just discovered.
Yeah. I mean, in my feeling, I sort of feel they all link together as well. There's something between the very serious political subjects of discrimination, representation, these big political histories, and the food and the culture. It all links together somehow, I feel.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, we'll do a bit more exploring. Hopefully the rain will ease off a little bit. No major electrical faults or anything, but thanks so much. It's going to rain for the rest of the day. Oh, you're kidding me. Okay, this is what the phone says. Do you want to join back in again? Do you want to maybe just sit around here? Okay, all right. Okay, nice one. So, where do you want to take this conversation? Do you want to? What's that? Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Hassan, what do you want to talk about? What's happening in Palestine? We covered that a bit earlier on. No, we can go back to it. It's not a problem. I'm just saying it is. A lot of people are concerned about what's happening in Palestine. Hello. Geraldine, have you got a view about Palestine?
I haven't heard anything about it.
You don't know anything about it? Okay, maybe first of all, we just need to find out a little bit about it.
I'm angry about how they're making the Palestinian people oppressed.
Yeah.
How they don't have any weapons, nothing.
Yeah.
And they're going against the country that has everything, yet they still manage to lose. How is this possible?
Yeah. I mean,
that's because they're fighting the country of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. La ilaha illallah.
Can I just ask you a question? What is winning and losing in this context?
There's no winning or losing. It's just stop oppression.
Stop oppression. So that, in a way, winning would be...
Yeah.
Habib.
Just you need to mute that tab. That's us back again. Nice one. Okay. Okay, so we're talking about that was just us from about 30 seconds ago. It's a bit weird. But Jock, have you got a view on this? What do you think about Palestine? Do you know anything about what's going on there? Geraldine doesn't know much. We've got Penny as well joining us online. Hello, Penny.
If you like Israel, so give up.
What's that?
Oh, I mean, sorry, I was just if you go back to Jock.
Go on.
Yeah.
Okay, so go on. Jock, were you saying something?
No, but we hate Israel, isn't it?
No.
No,
Okay.
the brother was just expressing his
hate for Israel.
His dislike for the Israel state.
Yeah.
And we just think that it might be a bit, well, obviously, in terms of what's actually happened, it's not really good in terms of how it was classed as Palestinian land, and then eventually somehow through foreign help that the state of Israel was established, and then slowly it's gone bigger and bigger until the complete occupation of the land. But the fact is that it was Muslim land before that, because it was you can say that it was always Muslim land, but I mean, it's a holy land, and it's a holy land, and it's a war of religion.
Can I just ask, how does it relate to Bradford and what's happening here in Bradford?
Because the majority of Bradford is Muslims, and that literally correlates with our heart, where we live.
Yeah, I think what we're talking about is like, I understand that it's Polish Culture Day, and like the way I mentioned earlier on that we hopefully we have good hopes for one another, and that that's how we like just live our life. And in terms of what's going on in Palestine and Gaza, that's what's been on my mind. So I thought I'd take a seat and try to talk about stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Talkaoke, it's kind of up to whoever's
I'm from old Broadwater farm.
and who's online to decide what you want to talk about. Hang on a sec, Bando, let me just, I just want to bring in the people online. Can you turn down the ones that are not talking? Otherwise it's quite hard to. So people online, Penny, Geraldine, Laura, Zara, have you got any views on this? And how does it relate to some of the other conversations we've been having about discrimination in this country? Have you got any views on it, Geraldine?
No.
Penny?
Well, I suppose what is happening in Palestine is pretty much an atrocity. And, you know, it does affect people in Bradford. People are very upset about that and can see people being killed and can see that conflict and the horror of it. And I guess in terms of other communities, there are other communities in Bradford that have fled from conflict and have, you know, their lives have been turned upside down and they've ended up in Bradford. It's one of the parts of Bradford's story is that people have fled from conflict and they've ended up in other parts of the world, and that's partly why we do have some of our Polish community and some of our, you know, our heritage is to do with people who've had to flee that kind of situation. So there are links to cultures like that.
So actually, so I'm picking up what you're putting down. So actually, it does actually link to the Polish thing because quite a lot of those Poles and Ukrainians were fleeing the turmoil of war and oppression as well. So the oppression thing, does the oppression thing stretch out wider than the Palestinians, Bando? Number one, Mike one?
It clearly does because oppression is happening everywhere. But the thing is, we can't speak up because we're being oppressed.
Right.
That's it's like a loop, it's like a cycle we can't escape because of all of the news. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so we don't really hear the voices of the oppressed people, wherever they are around the world.
I think that's true about, you know, what's happening in Palestine, the way it's being told on the BBC News, the mainstream news is not really reflecting the Palestinians' experience. A very particular view. So mainstream media in this country are portraying it very much from a particular, as if it's two equal sides in conflict, not understanding that the Palestinians are being absolutely, you know, overwhelmed by a far more powerful group, and it isn't like, oh, there are two people, they're absolutely equal and they're fighting. That isn't really the story that's going on there, but it's kind of presented like that on the mainstream media channels, and the BBC and everything tell one perspective. I don't think that represents how a lot of people see it, and I don't think it represents probably how a lot of Bradfordians and, you know, Muslims see that story. And I suppose in terms of Polish culture, when we look at World War II, we hear a lot about maybe the British experience, but I don't think many British people understand the suffering that the Polish people went through and the suffering of Eastern Europeans, which was absolutely off the scale horror. You know, people who displaced, never saw their family again, lost everything, had to start from scratch. That kind of story isn't something that we understand in our mainstream culture. World War II is told from very one particular perspective.
Is our perspective too narrow in a way? And it's a very it's a British perspective that just comes from that very, you know, British thing, and we don't really pick up on. I just want to go to Kane, and I'll come to you, Bando, and then,
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I do think there is an issue about we are fed a very narrow narrative. I mean, the whole thing around the decolonizing of the history curriculum, around Black Lives Matter, of actually, like, there are very few, there's a whole load of stories around minorities that we don't hear and underrepresented groups. But I also think I think the Palestinian situation. Nice to meet you, man.
Let me get a final thought from you before we go.
Yeah, we'll come back to me.
All right, nice one. Okay, cool.
But I think in terms of the Palestinian situation, the other issue, I completely agree. There is an issue around what I would consider like the impartiality of something like the BBC, that they have to hear both sides. So you have to hear like the Israeli perspective and the Palestinian perspective, whilst not being able to comment on quite how like insane the whole situation is. Well, it's that weird thing of actually by not being biased, I feel it like by kind of like, okay, we're gonna hear both sides, it actually makes it biased.
That's an interesting point. So in a way, this idea that everything's kind of balanced, in a way, is a bit of a false reporting because it's not balanced.
No, I mean,
yeah.
I just want to focus on we're talking about the reports not being balanced, but I mean, what's really not balanced is the deaths, that how many Palestinian deaths there are compared to the actual Israel deaths, and
because they're not able to go in and report.
no, but I mean, sorry to go in. No, but I mean, if you look at both sides of the reporting, from what I'm aware from British governments, from the news that I seen last night, about 140 Palestinians have died, and around about 7 Israelis have died.
Yeah.
And I mean, in terms of in that way, I don't. And the reason for the reason for protests, from my knowledge, I think.
He's my friend from now on.
Yeah, we're all I mean, we've got to be really thankful that we're living in the UK, because if this was happening in Palestine right now and we were sat down here and if we were on Israel land and talking about stuff such as this, we'd be facing that same oppression. So we're really grateful for that. But I mean, what I was trying to say is that in terms of the deaths, and it's just and the reason why there's such a big difference in the deaths is, I mean, from what I'm aware, is that the Israelis are the Palestinians are being forced out of their land where they live in, and they're being forcibly evicted, and that's the reason why these protests are obviously going on, and it appears that I'm not too sure, but Palestine's obviously willing to lose their lives to kind of stand for their rights.
Okay, I'm just going to come to Hassan, but I also want to ask the people online, you know, come from different perspectives. We've already heard from Penny, possibly there is a connection with the Polish experience or with the Eastern European experience, but Hassan, turn up number 2 for us.
Hello.
Yeah.
I want to also speak about, you know, in the 16th century, honestly, there was Christians being oppressed in you know, because, you know, in Algeria, there's a lot of Muslims, but there's some Christians too in it.
Right.
And what happened was, the Christians were being oppressed.
Right. Okay. So it can happen the other way around.
So it happened the other way around. So it's not only, you know. So we're not saying that we're angels, because we're not, of course. You know what I'm saying, innit? You know.
Well, I mean, right now there's a situation going on in Palestine. I just want to bring in. We've got also some new faces. We've got Katie that's joined us. If you want to turn your camera on, you're very welcome to as well. It's great to see your faces, and the people of Bradford can see you as well. But any of the people online got a view on this about people being displaced, being forced off of their land? Anyone on there online? Okay, I'm going to go back to the live audience then for now. Yeah. Number 3.
So what also I was thinking of, like, in terms of what's the international community is doing for the situation in Palestine and Israel, I mean, I don't understand why, maybe, like, I mean, obviously I just thought of this in my mind just right now, but I mean, just the way foreign aid has been deployed in different countries such as Iraq and Afghanistan, and maybe in different areas such as that. I mean, I don't understand why that's not why that's not taking place in this instance with the Palestinians and the situation down there. I mean, it's so unfortunate that we've seen what we've seen in terms of the media. There's been people being hurt. And I don't want to take this too far from obviously why we're really here. Is like we're focusing about the Polish culture day, and it's unfortunate that obviously there's lots going on in life, and sometimes we don't get to celebrate these cultures properly because our thoughts are with the other people.
I mean, is it what my question really is it a different experience in the end, or is it something similar to what happened? I think that's what you were saying, Penny, that it's something similar to what happened to Eastern Europeans
Yeah, I think there's some, you can see that a lot of Eastern Europeans, Polish, Ukrainians, basically were displaced through war, through the Second World War. They lost their homeland, they suffered horrifically, and they were displaced and ended up in Bradford. And you know, that trauma and surviving and building a life and starting from scratch is part of the history of a lot of Polish community. And you kind of see them as now highly successful people who've done amazing things. But when you know, I remember speaking to an older Polish lady, and she talked about arriving in Bradford at 17. She'd left behind every single member of her family. She had no one, and she didn't speak English, and she started from scratch. She lost absolutely everything, and she never saw her family, anyone from her family, ever again. You know, she was completely like lost everything in her life and had to rebuild from scratch. So that kind of loss, that kind of trauma, is very much part of the thing. The older, you know, that wave of people who came over after the Second World War have been. I definitely think it's not been understood very much.
I mean, is it? How did the media, like the British media, did they report what was going on, or did they focus mostly on what was happening from a British perspective?
Yeah, I don't think people widely understand that. You know, I don't think people do. I don't think people are terribly aware of what kind of people have lived through and what they've survived and the kind of losses they've experienced and what that conflict caused to their lives. And I think there are similarities with other people today, you know, living through.
Hang on, Penny. Let me just get a final thought from these guys before they go. So give us a final thought, people, before you
So basically, I would like to say people are very friendly and very nice, and may God bless you all, and may God bless my slime over there. Yeah. Come on. See you guys, especially the guy with the nice heart. I love that heart. The one that in the bottom. Yeah, the one that's smiling. Penny. Yeah, Penny.
Yeah.
See you, Penny. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Thanks very much for joining. Come and join in if you want to. This is Talkaoke. It's a live talk show where we talk about anything. Right now, we're sort of talking about really the links between different migrant experiences and the turmoil that's going on in Palestine, and then also the turmoil of the Eastern European people that came over. Come and sit down, and that's exactly what we want. Sit over there by mic 1. If you can sit, there's a dry chair there. First of all, we're going to get your name. What's your name?
Tariq Ali.
Tariq Ali.
Yeah.
So
not the '60s activist. I've taken over his mantelpiece.
Right, like the original Tariq Ali, the activist.
Yeah, I've taken over his mantle. I've been blocked by him by now. Because they keep confusing me with Tariq Ali.
Okay, well, at the moment we're talking about.
Let me talk about a bit by myself. I was born in this city.
Yeah.
Bradford, Lister Mills. So it's a Labour Party.
Yeah.
So, and in 2001, something happened where the BBC incited the biggest mainland riots. I've sent all the copies out to 25, 30 MPs.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how it started. It started in Oldham.
Right.
Local area in Oldham where a pensioner got attacked by a Muslim crowd.
Yeah.
Anyway, BBC Radio 5 were broadcasting it at the time. So Oldham to Bradford, you think nothing's going to come out of it.
Yeah.
The breakfast show, BBC Radio 5, it carried on the story. It carried on the story for not weeks, not days, months. So that connection between June till July, it kicked off in Oldham, then that went to Burnley to Bradford, Leeds, and then Leeds on to Bradford.
Yeah.
Now, I took the case to the High Court.
Yeah, sorry, just trying to get more people in to hear you. But yeah, you took the case to the High Court, yeah?
High Court. First, I took it to the Prime Minister, David Cameron.
Yeah.
I highlighted about the hole in the city. And what he did was, he says, listen, this matter is not for the Prime Minister's office. But what if you want to suggest is, write to the BBC Trust. So I wrote to the BBC Trust, Department of Culture and Media, both of them. BBC Trust wrote the letter. I've still sent it around to the MPs, which was shocking. We distanced ourselves from the BBC.
Right.
So they didn't want anything
they didn't
to
want to take responsibility.
So they said speak to the.
I mean, one of the things we're talking about right now a lot is the media how people don't feel that it's representing the reality of what's going on.
And Palestine. I'm doing a report on the far right as well. I've done a report. Have you heard of Majid Nawaz, the Quilliam Foundation?
No.
Majid Nawaz, the Quilliam Foundation, it's a counter-terrorism thing. And he wanted the Muslim community to sponsor him, which they didn't want her. So he had to get the money from Zionist people. Right. So they control Majid Nawaz, the Quilliam Foundation.
Right.
Look, I've told him he can take me a call on the social media liable, right? Then he got the Henry Jackson Society. The Henry Jackson Society is another Zionist organisation. They're non-profitable and that. The BBC interviewed Tommy Robinson, Katie Hopkins, all these are Zionists, not Jews. Judaism rejects it. They interviewed these for months and months, right? The far-right connection.
Yeah.
And if you look at Tommy Robinson is funded by the Israeli lobby.
Really?
Rebel Media, have you heard of Rebel Media? Rebel Media is based in Canada. Right, I'm going to get 3 of them banned from entering in England. 2 of them are in Canada, one's in America. Charlevitz, you will have heard of them. They're a far right. They basically were money laundering. It's all on YouTube. They were getting money in. They were supporting Tommy Robinson. You've heard of BBC's John Sweeney. He got set up. You see, I'm defending the BBC now. He got set up by Rebel Media.
Right.
So I'm defending him. I'm also defending Jeremy Corbyn. Because Rachel Riley celebrated the egg attack on Mr. Corbyn. So I went on the social media complaining this and that. Sent a letter to Channel 4, suspending my Twitter account. So the far right is run by the Zionist media, the Palestine as well.
Okay, so there's quite a lot of information there. I just want to go to people online. If you've got any comments on this, do you feel that the media are biased? Have they got an agenda? Are they? What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think the media is totally biased, completely biased, and I don't think we don't have an independent, very little independent kind of media, and it's a lot of it's controlled by, like, certainly our print is controlled by billionaires like Murdoch, isn't it? So it's totally biased, and it's telling one version of things which is completely inaccurate, and yeah. I mean, just to look at climate change, until about a year ago, they used to talk about climate change and they'd always get some climate change denier on, and they'd get someone who was like a climate change activist, then they'd get a denier on as if it was an equal argument, like, now let's hear the other side of the story. But they're like, the climate is being destroyed, it's evident in 1,000 different ways, but the BBC report it as if we're not quite sure about this, let's get a denier on and give them a platform. It's like, no, report it as actually the facts are, which is that it's clearly evident that we're in climate crisis. They've only started calling it a crisis in the last 12 months. So it shows how completely biased, there is a real bias, and across the spectrum in all sorts of areas, I think, and yeah.
I'll pass it.
Can I? Oh, all right, sorry.
Turn me up. Okay. So can you hear me now, Katie? What's your point, Katie? Sorry. I got turned down. Go on, yeah.
Yeah. I'm without video today because got a little bit of migraine and sitting in the darkness.
Oh, not to worry.
Just wanted to say that, yes, I totally agree that with Penny's opinion about the media. But at the same time, I think that since we live in an information age, it is possible to find sources of facts. It's just not the regular media channels that people are so used to.
Yeah. So what are you saying? It's in a way, it's down to us to actually look a bit further than the mainstream media to actually get the
Yes,
information.
I guess a lot of people are very used to, get opinions from somewhere instead of develop them themselves, just looking at the facts. And I think it's pretty late now, but better late than never, I guess, for everyone to, start looking for facts, for sources, how to verify them, and to essentially develop those skills to develop an opinion ourselves.
Okay, so in a way, you're saying you're putting the onus on the people to actually develop this a little bit.
Yes, that will force the media to change their view as well, the way they report things.
Okay, Tarek, I'm going to come to you, but Habib, you had a point, didn't you, first? Has it gone now?
I just wanted to say that they pointed out that the rich people obviously want to control what's being put out in the news and stuff like that. And on that note, I mean, I'm a Muslim, so I have to kind of focus my views on terms of my faith. Sorry. Yeah. And it just it brought to my memory that the Prophet, peace be upon him, to the nearest meaning, once stated that eventually everything, all the technologies and stuff like that in the world will go. So I mean, in relation to that, I just kind of have some sort of point of view on the news that maybe it'll never be true, because the rich people at the top want to remain there, and they'll do everything that they want to do to kind of control what's on the news. But it's obviously so sad, because sometimes it's unfortunate, because that's beyond my perception to understand what exactly is going out and what's happening out in the world. So to some extent, I can only see what's been shown to me, but I just try to be a good person in general. And I hope that for everyone.
So in a way, just give everybody the benefit of the doubt first.
I mean, it's unfortunate with what's going on in Palestine, because there's just people dying, and we obviously need to try to do our best to kind of stop that. And I mean, what's been on my mind, maybe as we've been talking today, is to maybe think I was born in Pakistan, and I come to England at the age of around 5, so it's completely different for me. I mean, the way I see it, if I didn't move to England, I would never have this opportunity, which is completely correct. So I mean, I was thinking about what the British government are doing, to maybe try help Palestine. Will they be willing to send troops there to calm stuff down? Because I mean, according to the evidence of what's been going on, it's really bad. I mean, for example, if we were, I mean, people have been in congregational prayer, and the army's been storming through, breaking that up. I mean, I personally still, through the media, couldn't realize what was the reason for that to happen.
So they're not really explaining the history and the build up to it or anything like that.
It's not about the history, because we understand the history, because we know what is it. I mean, as Tariq was pointing out about the Zionism, is Zionism and Judaism one thing? Which I personally think, from my opinion, it might not be one thing, but they might be interlinked or anything like that. But it's a bit of a very intense topic and sensitive topic. So I mean, in terms of what's going on and the fighting, it's maybe the fighting will continue, but I personally think what happened was completely unfair. It's a bunch of Muslims can go into a church or something, or a synagogue in the UK, and break up their worship and say, no, you can't. Because I think that shouldn't be allowed in any way, because that's why maybe the fighting's continuing with stuff like that, because of constant oppression.
I just want to bring in Tariq on this as well.
Talking about the media again. We'll look at Rupert Murdoch now. He controls most of the media. Look, Australia, Kevin Rudd and Malcolm Turnbull, these are ex-Australian prime ministers. They've united against the Murdoch empire due to that climate change and that, because they're pushing a lie there. That same principle is happening in England. And what people don't realise is Murdoch control 70% all of the national newspapers in England. And he's elected every UK PM in this country since Margaret Thatcher. And people say, what happened to Tony Blair? Is the godfather to his children. So he backed him in the Sun. So he backs anybody that he thinks will be elected. It's not the public. 15 billionaires, 6 corporations control most of the media in America.
Right.
So they control. Now, going back to how can we combat this media? We can have our own channels like yourself on YouTube. We've got Twitter. We've got social media. You listen to them all, and you take that route. You don't look at the BBC's news. If you look at BBC, Al Jazeera, you look at RT, they've got a different story.
Yeah.
Look into soldier, make your own mind up.
I mean, I think that's what kind of Katie was kind of saying, but how susceptible are we to this mainstream story, and how able are we to form our own opinion outside of this mainstream kind of bubble? That's really the question I'm going to put back to the online people as well. Katie, have you got a response to that? Or Penny?
I mean, I think it's quite hard to sort of navigate a lot of stuff on social media. I mean, I have to admit, I'm not a great one for following social media massively. I'm really old school, but QAnon and all these conspiracy theories and a lot of the kind of misinformation people believed about the Trump presidency was all fostered on social media, and people believe a lot of those lies absolutely, passionately, absolute God's truth. And I find that quite scary, really, because people are quite vulnerable and can be quite lonely, and if they're being fed an algorithm giving them constant lies about something, find out people can end up having extreme views. And there's loads of people, I know people who believe that the whole COVID thing is a complete hoax. It's not true. The government is doing it, and there's loads of people who believe all sorts of things, and those ideas are fostered on social media. So I think it's quite a difficult thing to navigate, to be honest. I don't think it's easy. And I don't think children are particularly taught critical thinking in school. We're not taught as children. Use your critical senses, make sense of this information. How are you going to, we're not taught. We're really taught just here is the answer. Have it. I think if it's children in education, we were taught a lot of critical thinking and how you do your own search. Things it might be different, but we're not really. I think it comes from our education. If we had more of that kind of thing taught to children, they could disseminate a lot more easily and make sense of things themselves. I think it's quite a tall order, really.
Okay, so in a way, it's up to people to develop these critical thinking skills. It's not necessarily taught in schools. Terry, did you want to come back in on that?
No, I completely concur with her. I think we should have our own alternative media. Like yourself, we're doing it. You've got YouTube, you've got other channels, and I completely agree. And what you're doing is fantastic. We're engaging with the public. But like another thing, the BBC. Now the BBC says they've separated itself from to Ofcom, which it hasn't. It's controlled powers. It's controlled by the government. The BBC is state-run. The Royal Charter. The Royal Charter is renewed every 4 or 5. The Royal Charter gives power to the government in programming output.
Right.
So the board of deputies, wherever they are on the BBC, are all conservative.
Right.
So they've got all their guys in. And, and having said that, Labour did it with Tony Blair. He got his own people in. So whichever government comes in, they use the BBC as a kicking tool.
Right.
And
so it's a kind of almost gives the picture that whoever's in power wants to give. Geraldine, have you got any view on this? Do you watch BBC? Do you ever watch BBC? Anything on BBC or listen to the radio or anything?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you feel like it's presenting a particular agenda?
Yeah.
And what is that agenda for you? Is it something that you feel you've got do you have the critical tools, do you feel, to find out other sources, or are you not that bothered? What's your view? That's a yes. Yes, you've got the critical tools. And so what other media sources do you look at then?
Yeah.
All right, I'll come back to you on that one. Katie, Katie, come in to me. Talk to me, Katie.
About media sources.
Yeah, I mean, because you kind of brought up this idea that we need to be more.
Yeah, so I think I think I brought it in one of the earlier talks. It's whenever we look for the sources, it's very good to look for the motivation of them. Let's say people are used to getting news for free on BBC or wherever, so money has to come from somewhere. We need to look how they are motivated, and for them usually it's clicks, so they will try to report news in such a light that it provides more clicks.
Yeah.
And to me personally, especially about all these mostly negative events in the world, I found that hacker groups are pretty much good source on that, because they don't have a political agenda per se. Right. For them, it's more a matter of honor to report as accurately as possible. So when they do it with that idea in mind, usually the information is very quick and extremely accurate, at least as far as I have found it.
Okay, so listen to the hacker groups is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean...
Can you give us an example of what a hacker group is?
Well, there's this anonymous group on Twitter. They have a Twitter account and they post all the news about Israel and Palestine and all the other ones too.
So what's it called? Not anonymous.
Your Anon Central, I believe.
It's called what?
Your Anon Central.
Anon Central, yeah.
Your Anon Central, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You should write that down if you like. If you got a pen and paper, maybe I could write it down.
Yeah.
And it is a decent source.
Write it into the chat so we can see it.
Sure, just a moment. I'll send a link.
Okay, nice one.
So I mean, you know, we were talking about how I celebrate and stuff, and the whole Polish culture. Because I mean, I guess that's why we were here and stuff. But I mean, like I mentioned, my life at this moment in time is obviously clouded by what's going on in the Palestine, and how obviously I'm in a very blessed situation to be in the country that I am in United Kingdom, where I have, unfortunately, at this moment in time, I'm unemployed.
Yeah.
And I'm looking to get work, and so I'm blessed that I'm getting paid from the universal credit from the funds of like in terms of government funding, etc. So I mean, I was wondering, like, in terms of what we're actually going to do to like maybe try and help the people in Palestine, because.
So you mentioned before, you talked about military intervention. Do you think that would work as a?
But yeah, I mean, it could potentially work. But I mean, we obviously need to identify what exactly the agenda of the Palestinian people is, and what they. I mean, I understand that there's a lot, obviously, that. I mean,
in this day, I'm sorry, just to connect it with Katie's point and maybe Penny's point as well. In this day when we can connect with people, shouldn't we just be connecting directly with Palestinian
I mean,
people and just find out what they want us to do?
No, but I mean, what I'm trying to say is that we're trying to advise one another on how to like maybe try and find out, which is very, very good. Find out about what's going on. Like you said, your the Twitter accounts on how they actually spread the actual news. I mean, I was trying to like think about what this maybe in itself. Talking about it is obviously something that we're doing physically to kind of like stand up for what's going on. What's going on in there. But I mean, in terms of like for the military and stuff like that, it could potentially help. But I mean, it's just a sensitive topic. It's a holy land, and the people are fighting.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier on, that it's best that we just remember them in our prayers. And obviously, Tariq's brought up a lot of things as well about how there's obviously hidden agendas in the world, and it's so unfortunate that we obviously, as normal people, might not be able to do as much. But Tariq's obviously been sending out letters and stuff. Maybe that's something that the whole general public should start doing.
Contact MPs, do it as much as you can. The other thing I would come back to you on your question is this not working?
Yeah, it's okay.
Right. Is the Zionist hawks in America? Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, Paul Wolfowitz, they're the architects for the wars in Iraq, Libya, Syria, Egypt. It's not a threat to the West. It's a threat to Israel. And the Zionist hawks control AIPAC, they control, they send £3 billion, something ridiculous every year to Israel. Here's pocket money, while they can't even look after their own infrastructure. And the Zionists got everybody fighting in the Middle East. Iraq, Syria, all these places, Jordan, they were never a threat to the West. It's a threat to Israel as a whole. And that's why these Zionist hawks that control, Dick Cheney, as I said, Paul Wolfowitz, Donald Rumsfeld, they're all Zionists, and they have their agenda for that.
What do you think about Zionist hawks, Geraldine? Have you got a view on it?
Lauren Hill wrote a song about it.
What's that?
Lauren Hill wrote a song about it.
You're learning about it. Is that what I didn't really hear?
Lauren Hill wrote a song about Zion.
Who?
Lauren Hill.
Lauren Hill. Okay, thank you. There's no one not on the mixer at the moment, so it's the sound's going up and down a little bit here.
I was gonna say I don't understand in terms of yourself, who is it that you've obviously come?
Yeah, well.
So what situation have you come down to Bradford?
So we've come down. Luckily, we've been.
Yeah, where you from and what you doing?
We come from London. We come from the East End of London, from radical London, a place called Poplar. It's got a long history, but we've got a little bit of money from Bradford City Council to come here and talk to people.
Look at you.
And we've got a little bit of money from the Polish government as well.
Yeah, I'm really grateful that you've obviously come down, and I'd like to point out that it's been nice for me to sit down and talk about what I feel.
It's been great to have you here.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic.
So can we see this on YouTube?
Yes, you can see it. We'll put it on YouTube. It's not on YouTube live, but we're going out.
What do you call yourself?
We're the People Speak. We'll give Margot's there with the card.
Are you the People's Front of Judea or the People's Front? You're going to say?
We can't say because we might get it wrong. Guys, come and join us. This is Talkaoke. Come and have a seat. Tell us your names. We've got Tariq. We've got Habib.
I have to get off now.
We've got some people online. Tariq, let me get a final thought from you if you've got to go. Come on, you can do it.
I think we can do 3 chairs.
Yeah, look, there's a go. Tell us your name. Tell us what's your name?
Martin.
Martin, welcome. We're just having a general chit chat. What's your name? You got Martin's going to do the talking. And one of the things we're talking about is, do you know what's going on in Israel and Palestine? No? Maybe.
In terms of the children here.
Anyway, guys, I've got to go honestly.
Tariq, let me get a final thought from you, and then we'll go to Martin and Habib. Yeah, go on.
What final thought do you want now?
Whatever's in your head, whatever's in your mind.
You feeling
boycott the BBC. Don't pay your license fee.
Okay.
And regarding, talk to your MPs, write to your MPs. Have an alternative social media. Get on YouTube like yourselves.
Yeah.
And let's hope we all live in peace.
I mean, can we find the truth on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay.
Some of them are being blocked now. Some channels they do. But it can. Alternative news and alternative media is the best way to go forward. And don't rely on the main ones.
Okay, I just want to bring in Martin. We might have to change the subject a little bit because I feel like we need to bring you into this conversation. Martin, tell us about what you're interested in, Martin.
The shops reopening.
The shops, are you excited that the shops are reopening?
Yeah.
What do you think about COVID? Any thoughts about COVID and about all this lockdown?
It's bad because you can die from COVID.
Okay.
It is bad.
Yeah, it's bad. Okay. How have you been doing over lockdown? Thank you, Terry.
Sitting home.
You've just been sitting at home. Has it been boring? Has it been all right? It's been quite boring.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, do you believe what they're saying about? Because one of the things we've been talking about today is that some people don't believe about COVID.
No.
You don't believe it.
Sometimes.
Okay, so you're not sure. Okay,
Yeah.
it's interesting. Habib, on your side, do you believe what's going on? Do you believe the stories?
I just, to be honest, I haven't.
Hang on a sec, Habib, let's get a final thought from you, Martin, because I feel like you're feeling uncomfortable. You want to go, so just give us a final thought, whatever it is.
About what?
About school, about lockdown,
About
what you're eating, anything.
Eating a burger.
What's that?
Eating a burger.
Okay, well, enjoy your burger. Thanks for stopping by. We've got some new punters anyway. Sorry.
So no, he said eating his burger. So maybe I should elaborate on that and say that he's obviously talking about having food in our bellies. I mean, as we were talking about earlier, how
food connects.
Food connects people,
Exactly.
and how we need to be grateful because there's loads of people that are hungry in the world. That are dying of hunger. So the kid made a good point that we need to live by our instincts and eat food first as well, to keep us happy and stuff and mentally aware.
Absolutely.
And for those that obviously didn't eat food, Ramadan's just finished. They've obviously the people struggled for 30 days and celebrated Eid. And then from what I'm aware is that people are obviously going to fast further on. There's the voluntary fast.
Can you explain that a little bit? Because I know about Ramadan and Eid, but what's this extra fast?
Yeah, so I mean, just after Ramadan, it's obviously the voluntary fast, and you can fast 6 voluntary fasts in the Islamic calendar month. So unfortunately, with myself, as much as I'm preaching about it, I haven't fasted just yet as well. But I've kept my fast. I've kept some this year.
Right.
And I tried to do as best as I could. And like I said, it was it was nice walking past and just randomly coming across this this booth, and I was kind of obviously amazed, thinking, "Oh, what's going on?" And I thought I'd come out and just have a word with you guys. I still sorry. What did you say your name was?
My name's Mikey. So I didn't say. And we've got this is Margot here. And somewhere we've got Kane, but I think he's gone talking about food. I think he might have disappeared to get himself some snacks. But it's been great. I sort of feel like this is, do you know what, Margaret? I feel like this is kind of winding down. I think you are doing a better job in the middle. I
think you've been good. You've been good also.
Thank you. Yeah. Keep going. Have a look. Maybe these guys will join us.
What did you come down to talk about today? What was your main agenda?
As we said, we got, it is Polish Heritage Day, or one of the Polish Heritage Days today. So we came down to, this area, this particular part of Bradford, has got an association with Polish people from the Second World War onwards. So there was that, as connecting with other Eastern European communities and other immigrant communities in Bradford, because we've heard already quite a lot how much Bradford has been a place where immigrants have come and and their experience, because sometimes they feel like they've been welcomed, they feel like they've been supported, sometimes they feel like they've been sort of shunned and ignored. So it's kind of just about hearing those stories and hearing really, what connects the different stories, and also what people have got to say, because we didn't know, for example, today it was going to be pouring down with rain, but we also didn't know about the global events that might be happening, in this time. So we just roll with whatever's going on, whatever's happening. Do you know what I mean? That's our way of doing things.
I mean, I would just say that it's been really great to be in Bradford, actually, and just kind of see what people got to say. I think the conversations have gone on, in so many directions that I didn't anticipate. We've been a little bit lucky with Polish people and Eastern European voices. But it's interesting that before we started, somebody said to me on the street, I was just explaining why we're here, and I said, "Oh, we're just going to do this talk show and to celebrate Polish Heritage Days and Eastern Europeans in Bradford." And he said, "Oh, the Polish people they seem to kind of almost look down on us because they keep themselves to themselves." And I wish we could have talk about whether that's true or not, because certainly there hasn't been many Polish people coming
but I mean
past, but I mean but it's just interesting different impressions we can have of different groups of people. So I've learned a lot today from different perspectives.
Let's ask the online audience as well, because actually we also heard this, somebody said, I remember when you were in the middle, that the Pakistani people keep themselves to themselves as well. And, and I wonder if this is just a perspective from different communities, that because they don't know or understand the community, that they think that they keep themselves, or is it just that communities do keep themselves more these days? What do people think online? Any thoughts on this? Anyone online? Katie, Geraldine, Penny, any thoughts on that?
I just think that I suppose with the Polish community, I think a lot of Polish communities have worked very hard to integrate, and I think that they kind of blended to a point where, in the past there would be sort of like more Polish churches or groups or places, but people, I think they've spread out and they're kind of almost, not as you're not as aware of the Polish presence maybe. And I mean, obviously newer people came, in 2004, and you've got new people come from Europe. But in terms of South Asian communities in Bradford, I think what's tended to happen is, which I think is a real shame, is you've got areas which are very white and areas which are very like South Asian. And some schools you go to in Bradford where it's sort of like 99.9% people with South Asian heritage, and other schools where it's more or less entirely white. And I think that is not the best situation in terms of integration. Yeah. And it's not the fact that people are like absolutely choosing, I don't want to kind of blend or mix. It's kind of that's what's grown up. And I think it's a difficult one in terms of people understanding of the cultures if you've got a situation like that. I think where there's a mixture in schools, you get a lot of integration, a lot of cohesion, and a lot of understanding. But where if you've got really like almost separate places and people are not on a day-to-day basis, it just doesn't help with the way that people see people who maybe have different religion or different.
So was it always like that, Penny, or is this a situation that has kind of evolved over?
I mean, in the past, they used to bus people out. There was this busing scheme where they'd bus people from an area of Bradford, which was mainly like South Asian, and they'd bus them to white areas to go to school. And the bus would come in, and these poor kids would get off the bus and have to go into this school. And it was like not a good way to tackle. I mean, it was an attempt to try and mix things up, but it was not.
It was a bit too kind of contrived. Really.
For those children, it was a very, it was a very blunt tool to apply to it. But I mean, there is schools linking in Bradford, which is where they try to twin schools across the district to get schools from different areas to mix and talk and get to know each other. But
I just want to bring in Habib on this one.
Yes. Obviously, we're trying to live it. We're pretty diverse in Bradford, so I mean, for myself, when I've obviously come into the country and gone to my school, it was pretty mixed. But as a Pakistani, we were still the minority, and there were English children around me. So in that way, obviously, throughout life, I've adapted to living in the UK. But obviously, I'm a Muslim and I still try to keep my faith. I might not be practicing as much. That's it's been. I've been really grateful and obviously blessed with being able to live here in the UK, because if I was living anywhere else, it would be a lot difficult. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the unrest. Wherever there's unrest, hopefully we can try. Even if we don't physically do something about it, maybe we can just think in our hearts that hopefully the situation will get better. And like there's lots of things going on in America with the Black Lives Matter and stuff. So,
but I mean, sorry, Habib, I just want to sort of link these 2 points together. And do you think that in a way that sort of separation of communities locally in Bradford does have an effect on? Is that happening all across the world, and is that having an effect on where you've got conflict and people are not understanding each other? Because they're just sticking to their own community.
I think where in the community where there's love, the cohesion's a lot better. Wherever.
So it's all about love for you, really.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, in essence, well, I don't want to be put down as that way that I'm just thinking that it's all about love. But I mean, what I'm trying to say is that in the situation, like we're in this area where we've got these similar morals, and we maybe can connect in a certain way. Not because we've got similar upbringings, but maybe we've got similar instinctive nature.
We've got some kind of common human.
Common human connect. And I mean, like with the focus of Palestine, I really don't know whether if it's the fighting's going to continue till whenever it stops.
Okay, we've got a new face to the table, but we've also got Katie that wants to make a point online. I just want to fill you in. This is Talkaoke Pop-Up Talk Show. At the moment, we're talking about communities in Bradford and this sense that the communities are almost kind of like mixing less than they were before. But they've got Habib is saying they've got commonalities. They've got like this sense of love within that community. And so we're talking about that. We're also talking about this. How does that relate to what's going on in Palestine? But we've got someone, Katie, online that wants to make a point. So let me come to you, Katie, and then we'll get your name and we'll fill you in on the details. We've got Habib and we've got, my name's Mikey. Katie, what's your point?
Well, I was about to go, so I thought I'll give my final thoughts.
Okay.
So I think that a lot of this kind of separation happened because for a very long time, people in many places around the world were told that, you know, there is one right perspective and every other perspective about something is wrong. And now we need to, you know, deal with different people who have different cultures and thus different experiences and perspectives about the same events, same situations and such. And I guess it comes down to everyday people, all of us, to learn to understand different perspectives, which may be disagreeing with our views, religion, philosophy, or whatever, but still valid because it comes from someone else's experience. And in some cultures, I come originally from Lithuania, and there is like, even to talk about anything personal is wrong, like absolutely wrong.
Even to talk about what? Sorry?
Anything personal, like ever. Because it's something you keep down, you know, only in your own family or something like that, because it's not appropriate. It's considered inappropriate to share things, to share experiences, to share views.
Right.
Yeah. And now people are struggling with a lot of LGBT issues because it forces them to look at things differently. And I think at different level, it's happening all around the world. Right. So I just wish everyone to, you know, find new perspectives, enjoy them, and have fun.
Okay, that's a great final point, Katie. Thanks very much for joining us today. We've got a new face here. What's your name?
Zahid.
Zahid. So we've got Habib, I'm Mikey, we've got Margot, we've got Kane over here, who's just wandered off. So hopefully you've picked up a little bit of the conversation. We're sort of talking about these commonalities. Is it because, as Katie suggested, well, certainly in Eastern European communities like Lithuania, maybe it's inappropriate to talk about your feelings? Is it because we're not actually talking?
I only can give you like a couple of minutes, you know.
Yeah. No, it's fine. Just pick up the pieces here.
Pick the kids up, you know. So.
Yeah. So what we're talking about here is really just like how to live better and have that different perspectives from different communities, not just our own community perspective. Margot, jump on a mic and make sure you're turned up on that mic. I'll go for mic 2 because it's drier. Anyway, but it's up to you.
We're going to come here. I think this is dry enough for me. I was just thinking about Bradford and the kind of the Eastern European people. Like, for instance, over there, just behind this gentleman on the yellow wall, there's a mural of Polish Anna. And I don't know if people know much about her, but she was one of the local characters. I mean, do you know Polish Anna? Oh, okay. So maybe you can tell, because are you from Bradford, no?
Yeah, I'm not from Bradford, but I work in Bradford.
Okay.
So I live now, so I moved to Bradford now.
So how would you like describe Polish Anna?
I heard about her, you know, like this lady. I think I've seen her twice.
Okay. And she's like a local character. Come and get involved in this, guys.
Yeah, she's a local character.
Search Polish. Yeah, I was just gonna say, I've not actually come across Polish Anna. I might have looked at that mural, but not seeing exactly.
Shit.
Go on.
Yeah.
Sorry, Zahid? So yeah, go on. No, it was you, wasn't it? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
so I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard of who actually Polish
Okay, well,
Anna is.
let's hear a little bit about Polish Anna, but we've got a couple of new faces at the back. Just tell us your names.
Lucas.
And?
Christian.
Okay, welcome. At the moment, we're actually talking about different communities and do they mix enough with each other?
I'm here.
What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, is it about finding that commonality or understanding a different experience? At the moment, we're talking about as well Polish Anna, who's the local character, and there's a mural of her over there on the wall in the yellow. Margaret, do you want to say a little bit more about Polish Anna?
Yes, I mean, I've never met her, but I've heard about Polish Anna. Apparently, it was a lady who came to Bradford after the Second World War, and there's a story that she was in a concentration camp, and she had really terrible experiences there, and then she came to Bradford with like an influx of Polish migrants, and then she was working like in some factories, but then when she got quite old, she was apparently very frequently out here, like in the market, and with her walking stick. And because she's been through a lot, apparently, like that trauma was kind of coming through her, and she was like shaking her stick at children, and like shouting things out. But she was actually much loved, and it's interesting because I've learned about Polish Anna from British people.
Thank you guys.
Okay.
Give us a final thought before you go.
Okay. What on?
Well, just what community are you from?
So we came, our background is originally from the EU. We've been here for the last 16 years now.
Yeah, okay. Whereabouts in the EU?
It's been Slovakia.
Okay.
So we've been in this country for 16 years.
Right.
So it's not longer the country we visit, it's the country we stay. It's home, basically, to be honest.
Yeah.
So this is it.
And can you remember much about Slovakia?
No, not much, no. It's like, do you remember your first trip when you've been with your family? You don't, do you? It's one of those things that you came to live here, you set your roots, and this is where you are, this is what you know. You go back to your country, it's no longer your country, it's just, I know the country, but this is your home.
Yeah. Have you been to Slovakia?
I've been there a couple of times, but obviously it's not home.
Yeah.
It's not home.
Do you feel at home here then?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is more home.
That's it, yeah.
Okay.
And what's been the experience of coming to Bradford? Obviously you lived most of your life in Bradford, but that sense of like you're from a different community, and then there's all sorts of different communities in Bradford. There's a big South Asian population. There's Eastern Europeans. There's the Yorkshire through and through. And so, what's been that experience of growing up in that situation? Did you feel like you were different? Did you feel like you were part of something bigger?
It's just one of those things that you come to live among the society. Whoever comes on board, it's just you get used to those people. It's like you never know what face you see next. So just now, many people pass you by. You don't know if they're Arabic, if they're Asian, whatever they are. But as long as you settle down in this country and you call it home, it's much home. England never was a one country. England is always the one that we welcome everyone, whoever comes on board,
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
So there's this long history of welcoming people, getting around.
Thank you. So we have to go now, guys.
All right, thanks very much.
See ya.
That was a really good point, actually.
Do you want to
Thanks
give us a final thought, Christian, as well?
He doesn't speak that much.
Yeah. Well done. Okay, so there is this history of welcoming.
Thank you, guys.
And I think that connects us all in a way, because we've all, in a way, come from somewhere else and been welcomed in this country.
Yeah.
Margot?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's always, I'll keep it very brief, but I couldn't agree with these guys really, because I couldn't agree more rather with these guys. And it's interesting, whenever I go back to Poland, I almost feel like you see a lot of similar looking faces. And in England, like wherever you go, like he said, you can see people from all over the world. And to me, it's norm, because I've lived here for 18 years. That's what I'm used to. So, like, for instance, I sometimes go back to Poland and people go, oh, don't like these people, don't like these people. And I'm like, to me, it's like a foreign concept, really, because like I am that different person when I come to England. And everybody, like, I live in London. So like every person I see, it's just different shape, different shape, different size, different color, different everything, different languages, different food, and for me that's normal, that's standard. So Poland is like all white mostly, and and quite homogeneous in terms of cultures, like very similar kind of Christian culture.
Just going back to that idea, how do you feel when you go back to Poland?
I feel slightly like an outsider. This may sound a bit bonkers because I lived there until I was 18, you know, but I go back there and sometimes it just, I find it a bit challenging to maybe, you know, people sometimes say like, I mean, a lot of people are really, really nice. That's what I have to say. Polish people are really super fantastic. But now and then I'll just hear like a sexist comment or a racist comment. And I always have to think, do I confront it now? But what if it's like somebody from my family? Like, I almost always think like, should I pick my battles? And it's hard for that reason. But I do like going back to Poland, but I feel different because I've not lived there for a very, very long time.
Okay. And we heard, Habib, you're originally from Pakistan, but you moved here when you were 5. Have you been back to Pakistan? Turn out number 3 a little bit.
I've been back a few times, and England. I think once what I was thinking whilst sorry, what's your name?
It's Margot.
Margot. Whilst Margot was talking about, in order to like maybe kind of become part of a culture, you have to learn the language. And as I've lived in the UK and I've become I've started learning English, and I've started to obviously learn to speak it, and the more fluent I've got to speak it, the better I feel living here. And in order to try kind of adapt to any culture, I think that you'd have to maybe start learning to speak Polish or speak the language. So yeah.
So it's all wrapped in the language.
Language is also very important. Yeah.
Sahid, have you got a view on this?
Yes. I come from Pakistan.
Okay.
Since 2005.
Say again?
Since 2005.
Okay, I mean, have you been back to Pakistan since then?
Yeah, since like 3 years ago. I went to see my dad.
Yeah.
And he was poorly. He was suffering cancer, so I went to see him.
Right. I mean, whereabouts in Pakistan was that?
In Punjab.
In the Punjab?
Central Punjab, yeah. It's near Lahore side.
Okay. All right. So you went back there, and how did it feel going back? Did it feel like you were going home, or did it feel a bit that you've changed and you've kind of become
just a
more British?
bit confusion, you know. It was different. So obviously we living for a long time with different culture and everything. Obviously we living in my community as well.
Yeah.
Obviously our Muslim community. So obviously it's like was different, totally different was there.
Yeah.
So
okay, well, that's really interesting. Penny, have you got a view on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think growing up in Bradford, there was always lots of different, like in my class when I went to school, there was really mixed nationalities. I sat next to someone called Dreyfelds, who was Latvian, and there were Polish people, and there were people with Caribbean heritage and South Asian people, and like white people, and that was like that in the street where I grew up. So I really grew up with that kind of mixed communities. And I do really feel that has given me a really rich background and a rich childhood experience. But when I go, a bit like Margot, if I go to parts of England where it's very white, I find that quite weird. I just find it a strange place where you don't see faces of colour or different people with any different or white. It always feels a bit uncomfortable. I don't particularly relish that kind of environment. So that's my experience growing up in Bradford. And that actually, the people in Bradford are phenomenally friendly people. Actually, you know,
we've seen that today. Sometimes a bit too friendly.
Friendly people, and like the sort of people that talk to you at the bus stop. If you're stuck, someone will just lend you money. Like, oh, I'm stuck. You know, like really unusually so. Like very friendly.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think the people in Bradford
are so friendly? Because there's a lot. I'll tell you
what. We are living in multiculturals.
Right. It is the multicultural element that makes people friendly.
Make them more feel safe and happy.
I think also because
they learn each other more languages and.
People also. I think some people who are So, for instance, my husband was a joiner, and he used to fix people's houses, and he'd go to some of the very poorest areas of Bradford, and he'd say the people would give food. They would offer food. They'd be really generous. They'd make food and say, "Would you like some food? Would you like drinks?" They'd share their food. He'd go to some a really rich person's house, and they would be very rude and wouldn't even offer a cup of tea. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing.
Right.
It feels like people who maybe are aware of some of the hardships in life, they share and they help each other, and it's like how people survive when they've maybe not got huge resources, that people learn to share and they learn to be a bit compassionate.
So some of it's about actually having that experience of hardship as well. That's an interesting point. Margot?
You can hear me. That's good. Welcome. Anyone else can join the Talkaoke, of course.
Come and have a seat. Come and get involved in this. Is Bradford a friendly place?
Oh!
No?
Controversial.
Okay, so not everyone agrees with the friendliness of Bradford there, Penny, but go on, Margot.
One of the things about Bradford is is it true that people call each other Doc?
No, they call each other love.
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 I need to get my side.
Just love.
No, I mean, we asked if Bradford was a friendly place. I mean, the brother said no. Maybe to some extent, from maybe his experience, it's not a good place. And like I was saying, it's a lot better than other places. But obviously, the brother there pointed out, and he said no. So for some people, it hasn't been a safe place.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it comes back to this idea of different people have got different experiences. Is Bradford a friendly place? That's what we're talking about here.
Yes, exactly. I've been here for nearly 3 years. I moved here since 2018.
Yeah.
All I found here love and care.
Yeah.
That's nice.
People really are friendly and they love each other and they care each other as well.
Yeah. So for you, it is. I mean,
I do too.
What about the people that don't get that warmth and friendliness from Bradford? What do we do for them? Come and get involved in this. Is Bradford a friendly place?
Your opinion.
We're nearly wrapping up, so come now. Give us 2 minutes.
All right.
Okay. All right. So maybe go and get your car because the traffic wardens are round and about. Luckily, they've not focused on our van, which I'm really pleased about, because we were doing an event for Bradford Council on the windscreen. So maybe there's a tip as well. Margot.
For instance, I think what really helps me to kind of, because when I came here to this country, I only knew the history, I only knew the history of Poland. And then I came here and I slowly started getting to know the British history. But then, when you scratch the surface, you realize the British history is really complex and it's got all these kind of colonial elements and stuff. And one thing that I found out, which I didn't know.
2 minutes.
Just grab a seat.
One thing that I found out. Hang on. Is Bradford a friendly place? What do you think? Is Bradford friendly?
Oh, have you?
Come on, just give us 2 minutes and tell us about it, because we got Sahid, we got Habib, we got Margot, and a new face over here. What's your name?
Aman. Let me just.
Aman. We just need to turn you up there, Aman. And that's what we're talking about. Do you think Bradford's a friendly place? Whoa, serious. Okay, Aman, I think we're going to have to bring you in. We're kind of I feel like winding this down anyway. But we're kind of winding this down anyway, but I sort of feel like we need to bring Aman in that's kind of pronto so that he gets his...
He's got an opinion.
Yeah, we talked quite a lot actually about... This all came out, she started talking about the Palestinian situation, then we're talking about the immigrant experience coming from turmoil and coming from war, and then we started talking about what it's like in Bradford and our communities actually mixing. And then we started talking about really, people's experiences of Bradford are very different. Some people are actually very... feel that Bradford's a very friendly city, and some people feel that we're good. Yeah, some people feel that Bradford is not so welcoming, and I think those people that are on the outside or not getting what they need, and I feel like it's those kind of people. So that's what we're talking about right now. So Aman, have you got is it Aman?
Yeah.
Have you got a view on this? Do you think Bradford's a friendly city?
Yeah, so thanks for getting my name right first. Not a lot of people do that. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, my name's Mikey. Sorry, that's very unprofessional.
Mikey, it's nice to meet you. Yeah. So I have moved to Bradford about 6 months ago.
Okay.
I've moved here for work. I've lived in a lot of metropolitan cities across the world.
Yeah.
And I have to say, Bradford is one of the friendliest cities I've ever lived in.
Right.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Where you come from originally?
So I'm from Manchester, but I've lived in London, I've lived in Barcelona, I've lived in Vancouver.
Right.
And I can honestly, in terms of integration, just coming back to the point you made, I think this city is truly integrated. You see so many people from so many different backgrounds of faith, social class, all coming together. I feel like Bradford is a city of sort of everyone here on the whole, I say, is kind of in the same socioeconomic bracket, and that's what I tend to find, especially when I'm coming around the city centre. And it's almost like a trench mentality, where everyone's sort of buckles down and are in the trenches together here in Bradford. That's the feeling I get. Anybody who has a negative perception of Bradford, I'd say they are the kind of person who would go into a supermarket and pick the nicer looking packet of biscuits over the brand shelf one, if you get what I mean. It's the face test.
People that buy posh biscuits are the kind of people that don't like Bradford.
And what I mean is it's people who are immediately impacted by the visual without actually getting into the underbelly of it.
Okay, so not necessarily the best biscuits, but the best looking biscuits. Okay, well, that's an interesting point there. And it kind of actually ties into what Penny, she's gone now. Sadly, we didn't get a final thought from her. Too much happening all at once. But she was kind of saying more that it's like the thing about Bradford is it's like maybe the posh people are not there, and the posh people are the ones that are not really being generous, because they've not. A lot of people in Bradford have had the experience of hard times, and that's what bonds them together. Do you agree with that theory that Penny had? Is that kind of, you think that's part of it, or is it something else?
Sorry, can you repeat your point then?
Penny was kind of saying that it's like the reason why Bradford's so friendly is that quite a lot of the people have been through hard times of one type or another, so they can relate to each other's hard times, and they can relate to each other's sense of hardship. And it's those that haven't got that experience maybe are not as friendly.
I think that's fair to say. I mean, aren't we all creatures of lived experience? I think Bradford over the years historically has had a lot more sort of hardship put upon it. In terms of I walk around here. I see a lot of homelessness. I see a lot of drug abuse. I see a lot of open alcoholism, things like that. And I think it's a sort of, you can see that people here do seem defeated in a way. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's the element of people who are absolutely vibrant and friendly and make the most of their situation. I've met some absolutely wonderful people here in Bradford, but at the same time, I have met a lot of people here where you can see they are quite openly defeated.
So it is actually really tough living in Bradford. There's a tough side to Bradford.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's hard to actually. Margot, go on.
I wonder. It was really interesting what you said is Aman. What you said about people kind of have that trench mentality because they all have like this shared experience. I'm Polish, and I feel like I was kind of mentioning earlier. Somebody from Bradford was saying like, I feel like Polish people maybe keep themselves to themselves. They maybe look down on us, like people from Bradford. But I almost wonder whether that's the thing of Polish nation has been through so much, like historically, that people almost like grow this like thick skin and resilience, and then like when you're part of a Polish community, people will help you, like they will really pull together to help you and in solidarity. But it seems to me like it's this kind of, but you almost have to like feel that like you have to like have a shared experience for people to like know that you're all right. Like I think a similar thing in Britain, I would compare it to the working class ethos, it seems to me like in Poland, everyone's working class. There's hardly any, you know, higher classes or whatever. Maybe people who made a bit more money, they can spend it on like flash things now, or, you know, or just not flash things, just normal things. But it's almost like the whole country is like almost like working class. And if you're part of it, then yeah, you kind of, it's a shared mentality in best moments. Obviously that, you know, lights and shades in this.
Yeah. So
but I really like that about, you know,
there's a
you
sense
share
of
something.
togetherness.
Yeah. And Bradford has got so much industry and you know, that's part of people's lives, even in the past tense. Maybe the industries aren't doing so well right now, but I think that that shapes the character of Bradford.
I'm quite keen to bring in Habib on this one. Would you agree with this idea that it's quite hard and tough to live in Bradford, but that can bring people together?
I think what Aman was saying is that obviously with openly being openly defeated, I'm not too sure on what that term actually is, but I mean, the way I see it is that it's like no matter what the situation of a person, you got to try to stay positive. And as for myself, like I said, I'm in an unemployed situation where maybe I haven't done as good as I should have done in terms of trying to attain a better career and stuff. But unfortunately, that's been my life, and I just try to stay positive and obviously look to the best of life, no matter what the situation is. And a lot of what Brother Aman said is correct. I mean, that's just maybe in general society, people are just unfortunately going to get looked down upon in terms of saying the nicer pack of biscuits and compared to the cheaper brand. But it's I mean, it's almost like a give and take situation. And right now, I'm obviously going by what I know that I'm allowed to like receive. So yeah, that's the way I'm trying to go about things, and just.
I agree with him, brother.
Yeah.
I agree with both brother. Yeah, brother.
Yeah.
I mean, another point, like my father has passed away, unfortunately. So, in terms of that way, I mean, like people have the children that they'll be living with their families and stuff, not knowing exactly maybe what's going to happen. So, I mean, I'm outside and I'm living on my own, and I've got my own perspective. So, for me as an individual, my life's going to be completely different to other Bradford people. So that's why I'm like, so like it felt a lot easy. Like, I mean, everything felt easy, just sitting down and just having a chat with you guys.
Yeah, well, it's great that you're here, and it's great to hear your experience. And you know, there is some, you know, life throws some really tough things, and you've had experience as well with your dad.
Sometimes I just feel like Bradford is not like part of England.
Yeah,
So,
it's in a sense it's its own country in a way. Is that what you're saying?
No.
No?
It's not like that. It's just everyone is actually living together in like multicultural.
Yeah.
It's all about.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to these tough things that happen in life, do you think Bradford is a supportive place for that, or is it?
Very spoiled place.
Yeah. We're about to wrap up, but just a quick one. Is Bradford a friendly city? What do you think? No.
It's not.
Why? It's terrible. But it doesn't seem that bad. Just quite smiley there.
So Habib made a very interesting point. I just want to touch upon, if that's okay. Talking about career.
Yeah.
So I do a bit of. I work for a company I won't name. I am quite involved in diversity and inclusion. And one thing that's become very apparent to me is early careers and the prospective candidates that come out of Bradford.
Yeah.
Weighing them against candidates that come out of other cities.
Yeah.
So the best example to use here is Leeds versus Bradford.
Right.
You know, I went to university in Leeds more than 10 years ago. So I've done a bit of work in sense of going to like graduate assessment centres and, you know, speaking to candidates. How do I get more people who look like me in in the corporate world, in positions of influence and prosperity? And the problem that I've found is that when you take two graduates who have both had the same level of education, you know, Bradford has a Red Brick University, Leeds has a Red Brick University, you know, you don't know exactly what goes on behind closed doors, but when they come out, you're supposed to be ready for a career. So I speak to a candidate from Leeds, and that candidate is well-dressed, suit and tie, please, hello, please, thank you, nice to meet you, all the pleasantries. They know how to answer questions. They understand about STAR processes, situation, task, action, result. How do I make an example here? How do I oversell myself? It's like they've been coached. in comparison to some of the candidates from Bradford I spoke to, who showed up in hoodies and, you all right, mate? Safe, you all right, bro? Oh, go on, sort this out for us, mate. And like literally helpless. And I think a lot of the problems that people find in Bradford is there's a big disparity between entrepreneur and professional. Bradford is thriving with entrepreneurs.
Right.
There's so many people make their money here in Bradford and take it off elsewhere or set up establishments and chains. You see mostly food. Food's the biggest industry here, where you can see a lot of chains get set up, multiple locations will open. That person will then sort of take their money and do what they like with it. There's nothing reinvested back into Bradford. And I think there needs to be some investment in early careers.
Yeah.
And I think Bradford's crying for a bit of gentrification.
Right. Okay. So you actually want Bradford to be gentrified?
Well, gentrified to an extent where it can prosper.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to wrap this up quite soon, but I'd quite like to just finally just investigate this idea that one side of it is like this thing that people from Bradford are not necessarily presenting well, or they're not necessarily, doing the same things that people from Leeds are doing. They're kind of, I don't know, not playing the game or not.
It's not that they're not playing the game. They've not been shown how to play the game.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Interesting. You're getting a round of applause for that.
Thanks.
And it's good to have the sort of Manchester Leeds perspective as well on Bradford. Yeah, go on, Kane.
Yeah, I
turn yourself up, I think.
Have I not turned myself up enough?
You're fine like that.
I'm okay like that.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I think there is, like working in the arts myself, there is like a really big drive to bring more diverse candidates in, but then there is also, I would say, like a complete failure of understanding the kind of support that is needed. And that's both at the interview stage and like understanding the rules that you have to play. But then it's also about the training and support when they're in post, especially, if you're having a candidate who might have maybe haven't been to university, doesn't have the same level of training, the same level of know-how, has like entrepreneurial skills and skills that like shine in far other ways, but are maybe limited by how you're meant to do a role. So I think, and there's the whole issue like around sort of like the reinforcement issue, that if you don't see people like you in a certain job, like working for a bank or working for a theatre or whatever it is, like you're going to be like, well, that's probably a door that I shouldn't go through. And it's just crazy, like all of these invisible barriers that are put up.
We do it subconsciously without realizing. We look for familiarity.
Yeah.
I know I do that. Who looks like me? Okay, he looks like me and he's in a position of power. That means I can crack on here.
And I think it's that thing.
Hang on a sec, Kate. You've got a new face at the table. You might take a bit of time to pick up the pieces. We're kind of talking about we started talking about, is Bradford a friendly city? But then we started talking about this idea that Bradford, there's been a lot of hardship in Bradford and a lot of difficulties, and maybe that's what makes people friendly. But then we got Aman that came and joined us, who's not actually from Bradford, but he's moved to Bradford. He agreed about Bradford being a friendly city, but it's also like, do people in Bradford, like people in Bradford that are not necessarily kind of career orientated or sort of presenting themselves well, or interviews, or kind of, is there an element of belief, or do they see themselves as doing well as well? So Aman works for a big corporation. He's trying to get the workforce a bit more diverse. I'm not going to say who it is because I don't know. Get the workforce more diversified, but is it the case that people just don't see themselves as working in those kind of jobs? And these are some of the questions that are on the table at the moment. We're actually into our final leg here. So we've got Zahid, we've got Habib, we've got Aman. What's your name?
Florin.
Yeah. And I'm Mikey. We've got Margot, we've got Kane.
Nice to meet you all.
So that's what we're talking about at the moment. Margot, you wanted to say something?
I was going to share. I just want to say this question of representation, I think I relate to it a lot because, like I mentioned earlier, I came from Poland, and even now it's so hard to see people who sound like me on TV or on the radio or in those kind of high-profile jobs. I went to an acting school, and it was so funny because for ages I was told you have to speak proper English, you have to speak proper British accent, because without it, like, what are you doing here? So I was doing my best trying to get this accent nailed. And then when I was graduating, I was doing my final performance where like all the agents come and they like either get you signed on or, you know, or not. My director said to me, I think you need to just do the Polish accent. And I'm like, why? Because your English isn't good enough and your Polish accent, your Polish heritage is what's going to get you jobs. I'm like, all right then. And I like for ages, I was like, I'm not going to do that. I've learned, like for 3 years, I've been practicing my proper British accent. Like, I'm not going to do Polish accent as if that's something bad. But in the end, I did it, and I got an agent. And then all the jobs that I went up for were for prostitutes and for cleaners. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with these jobs. I mean, okay, these are jobs, right? But it just made me realize how narrow the understanding is of what Eastern Europeans do, look like, and the perception. And I've been trying to get a mentor in the arts. I've been trying to like write to people who I think have got vaguely Eastern European heritage to say, hey guys, because in my job, I'm all about connecting young people with mentors as well, because you need to have somebody you can relate to. And that just doesn't exist. And it just, you know, sometimes it's just such a lonely job, because obviously you're talking about people looking like you. Like for me, it's like people who, because I'm white, maybe that, you know, that almost kind of is seeming like, oh, well, then you can just have fit in or whatever. But in terms of accents and stuff, there, you know, like we learned today, people come from all sorts of backgrounds and experiences, and just because, you know, people have certain types of privileges doesn't mean that their confidence is high up. So for instance, people Bradford versus Leeds, I think for me it's a confidence thing as well.
Is it that Leeds is a more confident city?
Maybe it's more confident.
I don't know.
So
Lauren,
like
I don't know if, I mean, I'll come to you in a second. Zahid, get going.
Yeah, the most educated city as well, not Leeds.
Say that again?
More educated.
More educated, yeah. Yeah. Lauren, have you got a view on this? Are you from Bradford?
I'm originally from Romania.
Okay.
I'm here for 6 years.
Yeah.
And I guess it depends on, I don't know, society, and as she said, similarities with the people around you. So in the end, it doesn't really matter if you relate to, I don't know, city, country, or anything. Just be yourself and find people that are on the same page as you.
Yeah. But I mean, what about if you're kind of being typecast? Because I think Margot was kind of saying, if you're I think it's a Polish woman, you're a cleaner or a prostitute, at least in the arts. Is it the same as a Romanian? Is it the same as people, because we've got a couple of people of Pakistani heritage, not cleaners or prostitutes, but I mean, similar kind of
no matter what sort of occupation a person is, I mean, even if we live as individuals within society, it's good to have like some sort of general moral instinct for everyone, irrelevant of what class we're in, whether we're gonna get the cheaper packet of biscuits or the more expensive packet of biscuits. It's just like something that's good to have instilled within yourself, just to see everyone as an equal, maybe.
So you think it's more about what's inside of you?
Yeah, I mean,
how people judge you based on your looks and your name or whatever.
I mean, you obviously can't walk around like with an open sense of delusion, but you obviously you got to have some sort of positivity in life to try and kind of push you forward, no matter what it is.
Okay.
So yeah.
I think Margot's example is quite good because you're talking about in the arts here. So I've got a friend who's a Pakistani actor in London, and they have made a conscious effort within sort of the last 10 years of creating a community of Asian actors, almost like an unofficial guild, where it's a support network. They can sort of, they line read together, they sort of write together, they go for auditions together. It's a community that they have. And I think it's a unique example in the arts, because in the arts, you kind of have to embrace the typecast if you want to break into it, in a way. Like my friend, for example, the roles that he predominantly got at the start of his career were terrorists, and but it is what it is. It is what it is, and it's almost like it's not that the roles themselves are demeaning or degrading, but you can feel like you're on an island fighting by yourself if you don't have a support network. And I think it's very important, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what you do in life, no matter what your path is, understanding what support you need and creating that network for yourself, because nobody will create it for you.
Okay, we've got some new faces to the table. So we've got Zahid, we've got Habib, we've got Aman, we've got Florin, we've got Margot. My name's Mikey. We've got Payne over there. Just tell us your names first of all.
You got me, Big Shabs.
Shabs, yeah.
Hassan.
Hassan and what's it? Habiba. Habibullah. At the moment we're talking about like Bradford, because Aman is. I'm just tell the story because I think it's really relevant. Like he's works for a big company, and they, he's looking into why is it that there's not more diverse people going for these top kind of jobs. And from his perspective, it's something about Bradford, and we talked quite a lot about it. Is it about the way people see people from Bradford? Is it about the way Bradford hasn't have the same confidence as Leeds or the same kind of image as Leeds? Or is it about how people see those people from Bradford? Florin, what's your point over there?
I was saying that in the end, it doesn't matter where you come from. What matters is to get to the end.
Yeah. I mean, so this is the conversation at the moment. Is it about where you come from? I mean, Aman, you were saying you got friends, because Margot is an actor, and she, being Polish, the acting jobs that come up for her are things like cleaner or prostitute, because that's how people see Polish women. And then Aman, you've got a friend who's a Pakistani actor, and then the kind of jobs he did at least early in the career, was terrorists. So, I mean, we're in a world that sees people, I mean, for whatever you say, I mean, Habib and Florin are both saying that thing doesn't matter. You've just got to be yourself and be the person you want to be, and just like trying to shrug off these kind of perceptions that people have of you based on how you look, how you sound, where you're from. So that's what we're talking about at the moment. I don't know if you've got a view on that, or do you want to just...
I mean, as a young lad in Bradford myself, it's a bit evident that from Bradford, people take you in a different way. They see you as a chav, they see you as a little shit that doesn't want to do the work.
Right.
So you got to obviously outshine yourself, you got to prove yourself. You got to be like, yo, I'm from Bradford, fair enough. I might speak a different way, a bit more slang, but I can push myself to somewhere good. See, a lot of good things that come from Bradford. First ever Morrison's opening in Bradford. Most of the stuff happening in Bradford.
Yeah.
Bradford at one point was the most industrial state in the entire, it's not state, but city in the entire country. People just shit a lot on Bradford, but there's no need for it. Honestly, a lot of good stuff happens here. I mean, there's some negatives as well, don't get me wrong, but that's just the same everywhere. Bradford used to be one of the worst cities in the UK, and now obviously it's got better.
Yeah. So do you think it's on the up, really? Yeah. I mean, what do other people think? Hassan, have you got a view? No?
Hassan only has 2 GCSEs. I'll have to give him a second.
No. Okay, so this is what we're talking about here. But does it come from you? Is it an unfair kind of perception of Bradford? Is Bradford on the up? Because you guys feel like Bradford's on the up. It's actually reinventing itself and actually coming out.
I mean, like in Bradford, there's a lot of young talent. We've got actors, we've got rappers, we've got producers, videographers. We've got everything going on. People are making YouTube channels, everything. And obviously, right now in society, social media is the only thing that's getting people places. Because you see a lot of people with degrees are not really getting anywhere. But other ways like making YouTube videos, making music, that's what's making them a lot of money right now. Right. So they're finding ways to work in that area, and that's what's getting them places.
I mean, that's kind of what Aman was saying, that Bradford's full of entrepreneurs and not necessarily people that want to go down the corporate route or kind of like do the academic stuff as well. Is that what you were saying, Aman, that you're feeling about it?
A lot of people in Bradford, I mean, there's a lot of companies here. A lot of companies have been built here. You mentioned Morrison's, for example. But are we good? Yeah, cool. So, you know, you don't see a lot of people that look like us in companies that this city built. And I think that's unfortunate, because there's a lot of us here in the city, young lads like you, you aspire to, do bits. You want to sort of have a face, I see a lot of lads who are TikTokers and have YouTube channels and things like that. But
hang on a sec. Let me just. Our online audience has woken up again. That being Geraldine, have you got a view on all of this? We're kind of coming into.
When did I become the only one here?
What's that?
When did I become the only one here?
I don't know. I just looked around and everyone else online had gone.
Wow.
But we're talking about. Have you ever been to Bradford, Geraldine?
Yeah.
What do you think of Bradford?
It's like a town.
Wow.
Anything special about it? Was it?
It's like a town. Nothing else. No nice food, nothing. Just a town.
Anything else about Bradford that you would want to say?
She's saying a small time here.
Be honest.
Hey, Geraldine, I don't think you've experienced Bradford enough. Listen, you gotta text me next time you come. I'll show you the fun areas around Bradford. It's more than just a town, I'm telling you.
Okay, we can facilitate that.
One point I just want to finish off because I didn't get to say.
I think we're kind of in final thoughts mode anyway, because we're supposed to be finishing up.
I chat to quite a few young lads here in Bradford, and a lot of you want to crack on in the arts, but what percentage of you are actually going to make it? This is why it's crucial. Yeah. It's crucial to have a backup plan. That's what I want to say to a lot of the young lads here.
Right. So
have a backup plan.
So follow your your aspirations in the art, but also have other plans as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
because you're not all going to make it. I pray that some of you do make it. That's all I want to see. But you're not all going to make it.
Okay, so
you gotta be a little enthusiastic, bro. Come on.
I am. I'm praying that people make it. I am.
Look.
But be smart and have a plan. Is what I'm saying. Just be smart and have a plan.
Having a backup plan's good. Don't get me wrong, but you gotta encourage someone to push someone. See, just saying just one word could push them out of motivation.
So we've actually got to believe in people.
Yeah, you gotta push them. Look, people only believe as much as their mind takes them. If you don't tell them that they're strong enough to do it, they won't do it physically. Not because they can't, but because they believe they won't.
How much of this is about belief from your perspective?
Most of it. See, people, you gotta think about mental health. I mean, I study psychology at uni.
Right.
So you gotta think about it different. You gotta push people in that way. You gotta make them think different. Right. If someone's waking up every morning and giving themselves a bit of gratitude in the morning, they'll realize that they're worth a lot more than they are. Okay. If you're pushing them down a bit, then slowly, eventually, it's gonna build up and it's gonna take them to somewhere they don't want to be. So it's all about what we do and say.
So for you, it's about belief coming from others, but also from yourself in a way.
100%.
Are you wanting to make a career in the arts or in psychology? What's your sort of?
I mean, I'm trying a couple of different things out right now. I'm not too sure what I want to do, but
just I'm trying your way.
Yeah.
In a typical Bradford sort of way. But belief is really important. I'm picking that up. So hey, come on, yeah.
Like a BFD shot.
Yeah, it was his own.
Free Palestine.
Yeah. Go. I don't know. But anyway, try that again. Yeah, go. Okay, what are you saying to him? That's a really important point. What happened? I don't know. Okay, I don't know that's going on there.
I'm from Manchester.
Okay, give us your final thought before you go.
I've been about a lot.
Hang on a second, let me just get final thought from everyone because we're going to wrap this up. So Sahid, try it again and give us your final thought.
Always stay positive.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, do you agree with what Shabs is saying about this kind of that you have to have more self-belief? Are we believing enough in the young people of Bradford?
Yeah, well, everyone's own opinion,
Yeah, you don't think it's necessarily about belief? Okay, let me go to Habib. Go to number 3, yeah?
No, I think the brother there at number 4 was saying that everyone's obviously entitled to their own opinion.
Yeah.
And he said stay positive, and I was thinking maybe you just try to focus on your personal development. So the way I see it as myself, going or having the experiences that I've had is just try to keep myself positive and just hope for the best in every day.
Okay.
You never know what can happen. And like I said, just with myself, I mean, I was walking across and I've had an excellent time sitting down here for a couple, maybe an hour and a half, and I really appreciated that. So it's good to stay positive and try to focus on your personal development as much as you can and be a better you.
I feel like it's been a real journey, and you've been on it for quite a long time. But we're getting final thoughts now, so let's get final thought. Aman, final thought.
Final thought. Bradford's a great city, very friendly place. I've been here for 6 months and I love it here. I feel safe. I feel welcome. The only thing I wish is for Bradford to prosper.
Okay. I mean, how is Bradford going to prosper? What
Can only prosper from within, I think. I think, like I mentioned earlier, this is a city of entrepreneurs, and I think what it's going to take is some of those entrepreneurs to put some money back into Bradford, and early careers is important. Early careers is very important. Going into high schools, colleges, and universities, workshops, getting to understand what the pitfalls are, and helping kids overcome them.
Okay, that's a strong point there. Florian, have you got final thought? You're agreeing with Aman? Okay. Final thought, anyone else? Habibullah, you got a final thought?
I mean, what Aman said is entirely true, to be honest. You gotta put a lot in to get along out. Aman, whereabouts are you from, Innes? Before you lived in Bradford, I'm just curious.
I'm from Man on the map.
Manchester, I think, originally.
Very nice, very nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Hassan, have you got a final thought? No.
Guys,
Geraldine,
I think Bradford's a very great city, to be honest. We've got many different attractions, such as we've got National Media Museum.
Yeah.
We've got Thornton Road.
Yeah.
And just many different attractions. And then you got the locals, drug dealers, Sapang, Cannabis, stuff like that.
Okay, any final thoughts? It's probably not time to change the battery. We've run out of batteries on the camera.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine. We talked about it a lot today.
Oh no!
We talked about a lot today.
If I knew that would have been done earlier.
And we talked also about the media not really picking up on what's going on.
It's actually peaks. I don't know if you don't know, but today the Al Jazeera building in I think it's Palestine got blown up to. Al Jazeera's media outlet there.
Wow.
One of the most famous. It literally just got blown up this morning. Like the full building collapsed. It's an 18-story building as well, so that's a really big building.
Yeah. Geraldine, have you got a final thought? That's online. Geraldine, final thought? Are you going to come to Bradford one day?
I'm telling you, Geraldine, if you're coming down to Bradford, just hit me up. I'll show you the good
We'll put
side.
you in touch with Shabs.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so that's it. I just want to say thanks to everyone. We're going to...
Alright, take care, guys.
We're going to...
That was fun. I'm glad I stopped. Thank you.
Thank you.